Welcome, race fans, to the Elite Racing Network live on YouTube. So glad you could join us for another exciting round here for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series live in virtual Music City. We're at Nashville Superspeedway, the longest concrete surface track in all the Cup Series here today. The Decor Depot 400. It is our second full-length race here tonight, and after just shy of 400 miles, we're going to be crowning yet another winner here for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Joining me here tonight to describe the action here is going to be my always favorite color commentary and producer, Rish. Rish, this is going to be an exciting one because I really don't know what to expect. I mean, like I said, this is a unique racetrack. No other track is like it on the circuit virtually here. What do you think these guys have with these next-gen cars here tonight, and what can we expect to see later on?
I'm expecting it to be a tricky night. I think that the story of the season so far has been difficulty to figure out these cars. But Nashville is a very different circuit. We could see a different style of driving that maybe suits these new next gen cars, or we could see something where this concrete surface is a little bit rougher on the cars as the cars end up running a little bit looser. So it could be more cautions than we've seen in the past. It's kind of a big unknown, but I'm looking forward to finding out with you here over the next 300 laps.
Yes, like I mentioned, they're just shy, literally, of 400 miles here, 399 by the time we take the checkered flag. But we will be describing for you 300 laps here tonight. This circuit very much new to NASCAR. It's only been run one time. Last year was the first time we actually visited here, where Kyle Larson was actually able to dominate in particular fashion. I am curious to see, as we are just moments away from getting qualifying done and getting our start of the race. We are about to have Dusty Dewar do perform our national anthem, as he usually does for our full length events. And there's the man of the hour. So that must mean qualifying has just wrapped up. I believe I see on my little highlight reel that Ethan Brill was able to sweep the pole, perhaps. We'll confirm that. But before we get to that, we have to set our national anthem. Dusty, it's all yours.
Oh, stay, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Dustin Dewar, another edition of the national anthem. Thank you so much, there, man. We hope to be talking to you later on. Hope you have a great race. Great race.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. Good luck in the booth tonight. Long race. Here we go.
All right. Yes, you can see that 37 car fresh off all their cars finishing in the top 10 there. Ethan Burrell leading Pro Edge Racing to yet another top front row starting spot. Scott Crump, though, in that 90 car, hasn't had the season he'd like, but right now he's being able to start. He could put that behind him with a good run here today. Also, who needs a good finish here today? Probably Chad Frankenfield. That is his third, I believe, top five qualifying position of the season, but it has not translated to finishes as of late. Chad really, really trying to bring some good luck to his name. Yeah, Chad Thornquist right behind, or excuse me, I skipped Andrew Rucker. My mistake, just outside of the top five. Right there, Andrew Rucker doing a great job. Chad Thornquist, remember, I was excited to say his name because he had such one heck of a battle there, Rashaf. I don't know. I know that you weren't with us 2 weeks ago, but if you were able to tune in and see, he was within 2 laps of pulling up kind of an upset, not an upset as far as speed, but hanging on with those tires there. Fortunately, it just got away with him and allowed David Tucker to get the win, but we'll see what that O2 can do today. Then you have on the inside a man who's actually ran this track, I believe, with the Xfinity Series, Jeff Green, starting 8th. Forty-three cars here trying to take on Virtual Music City. Ethan Burrell leads them through turn number 4. Pace car is off, and the 5th round is underway for the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Ethan gets it started at Nashville. Yeah, first 9 cars quickly got single file right there, about double wide, 10th place on back. You can see a little bit of smoke there just up ahead, and a battle for the lead as Scott Crump is taking a look to the inside of Ethan Burrell, but the caution flag is out. Number 1 of the night, lap 2 here in Nashville. Johnny Thomas. And then he's getting pile driven into by another competitor, and that is just that's just bad luck, and the fact that it's lap 2 of a 400-mile event. Was smoke right ahead, but he was already sideways before he got into the corner there. Definitely believe he didn't have any help right there, just how he entered the corner car. Back end just comes around on him. Yep. And Jared Rexing does all he can, but get into him right there. And Scott Haney nowhere to go. Johnny Thomas a victim, we had already mentioned. And again, lap 2, that's just a big blow for a lot of these guys. The race over before it even began. you know, to add more to the woes to the curves here. It is that learning curve that you were just describing here. I mean, a brand new car, these things don't behave like what these drivers kind of expected, and I think that's something that the next gen car that definitely translates to in real life. We saw Denny Hamlin just go back to old habits there at Las Vegas a couple weeks ago, and he forgot to shift, went upshifted by accident, exiting pit road, broke the whole transmission. So this is just something that's just completely foreign to these drivers that they're really learning, kind of trial by fire as the season progresses. I believe will get better later on, but for right now, I mean that's just tough for a lot of these drivers. Currently, this new car is giving everybody a handful. All right, so Ethan Burrell is going to elect to start on the outside this time by. Peace car is going to go in. We're going to be back under the green flag here momentarily at Nashville. You see Scott Crump actually pull ahead, trying to get to the side of the 37 car. It did not work out in his favor. He actually checks up that whole entire inside line, and the Pro Edge Racing teammates, they're off and away. Yes, you see RC Anderson there in that 50 car sliding into the picture as well. This is a battle just the later half of the top 10, the 38 car of Jeff Green running along in the ninth position there, but RC Anderson, ooh, that looked like he actually had to check up just a little bit. Their 38 car didn't get into the corner as well as we saw with the 40 car. And that'll be interesting to talk about here later on here, Rashad. What line kind of do you take? Because I've seen people kind of use that outside lane to their advantage. That 40 car actually made that position work on that outside lane as they go, almost flashing across the stripe at 3 wide. Jeff Green in the middle. Mention here, a good green flag run is about 65 to 70 laps here, and these drivers also have 13 sets of tires. Again, this is a full-length event, so we expect these guys to be going down pit road many times here. We'll see that tire allotment plays a factor into who gets into victory lane later on tonight. Pro Edge Racing Cars still control the field, but Chad Frankenfield, he's been able to hang on to that third position. He's actually gotten around Scott Crump in that 90 car. Two separate packs currently right now. The top four trying to run away there from this 5-car gaggle. See Andrew Bucker getting right on the back bumper of the 23 car. Woo! Almost got loose. You can see Harrison Talon, I think he's beginning to struggle just a little bit for handling that race car. He's going to open up the bottom and allow the 64 car to dive underneath him. Here comes Tyler Fody in the 40 car as well. And the 23 car, ooh, again, sideways out of the corner. R.C. Anderson's going to push the 40 car, and I believe the 23 is just going to try and hang on, try to latch on to the back half of this second pack inside the top 10.
Apologies that for viewers. I actually believe I had my mic muted on the stream, so Alex could hear me and was talking to me, but I don't believe I was actually recording myself. So apologies there. I am still here, but yeah, we'll get back to the action here out on the racetrack. Top 3 action between Burrell, Tooker, and Frankenfield.
You can see Chad Frankenfield's actually been able to sneak the draft a little bit and apply a little bit of pressure on the back bumper of our not last week's winner, as we had last week off, but 2 weeks ago, most recent winner here tonight, the 19 car, who is following the boss man right behind him, but he has company. That 15 car looking pretty close in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, that 15 car right there, and Chad's rolling that center really well, and actually rolling off the corner as well. Really strong. So let's see if he's able to get a run, down these straightaways. Could be a little bit tricky to find kind of that right line, as right now it looks like this top 4, everybody's happy just wrapping that bottom lane. You're talking earlier about what lane's preferred. That bottom lane looks to be, as the run goes on, looks to be the preferred lane.
Maybe we can ride on board the 19 car and take a look to see how Ethan is attacking these corners there. He's not really giving an inch off the bottom lane at all. We see actually a little bit of daylight now between separating the 19 and the 37 car, but I'm telling you, Tooker, he's got to feel the pressure behind him in the 15 car. I think if that 19 does bobble just a little bit, that 15 car will be there to pounce. The 90 car, you have to wonder if these guys starting to build that green flag run, have that green flag look to it, to that early caution flag. I do want to quickly say, I believe that Johnny Thomas, a victim of the crash, he's 12 laps down, and I do believe he is out of the race. So the first victim here tonight, not currently running, as well as the 70 car of Jesse Rasmus. Actually, no, excuse me, Jesse Rasmus is running there. Just one DNF so far. That's Johnny Thomas, last year's defending Daytona 500 champion. Not having a strong night here tonight.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Thomas. He really couldn't do much. Yeah.
Wrong time.
Yeah, really. But yeah, unfortunate there. Rasmus, we saw that was kind of what we were talking about. I guess I'll reiterate some of the points I had before, because man, I went 15 laps without actually talking.
That's right.
But
you got a long race to describe, so go ahead there.
Yeah, I suppose I got some time to make all of that back up. But yeah, no, I mean, was talking to Chad Frankenfield last week, I think it was, and described these cars as very tricky to drive in the sense that they're very much like what the Indy cars are like nowadays, where, as you see, Chad Frankenfield actually snaps loose there and has to let Scott Crump there.
Oh, no. The
yeah, oh, geez.
Hasn't arrived back.
But yeah, I mean, it's exactly that, where these cars are so finicky versus the old Cup cars. The old ones, you could really make adjustments mid-corner. You could change the way you were driving it Mid corner, you could add more throttle, add more brake, change your steering angle, that kind of stuff. In these cars, once you kind of set yourself up for the corner, you're setting up your entire trajectory for that corner. You can't make the same adjustments that you used to be able to make in those old Cup cars. And I think that's what guys are struggling to get used to in these right now. We see both in the real-life Cup Series, you mentioned Denny Hamlin earlier, and also here, where it's a completely different way of driving a race car that these guys are having to deal with these next-gen cars. So big learning curve, but right now they're kind of figuring something out here. Everyone more or less single-filed out here on this Nashville Superspeedway on this concrete surface. You just see Wyatt Knadel moving past Daniel Martinez. That's for the 14th position. But for the rest of this pack here, not too many battles going on the racetrack. Guys right now, I think, just focusing on getting some long runs in here. Just 13 sets of tires throughout this entire race, so want to make sure that you're good to go if we do see some cautions later in the event.
Creeping up closer to that top four, there is Chad Thornquist in that 02 there. You see him in that kind of highlighter yellow front end of that Chevy Camaro there. He's the only Chevy inside the top 5. And after that little bit of a wiggle by the 15 car, it's actually been able to reel in a little bit on this front group. So that 02 making up some ground there. We'll see what happens here later on. As we're about 20 laps in to this race on this set of tires after that early caution flag here. Right now, the car is definitely not going to be handling as well as it was at the start. I believe these guys are starting to feel that, as we saw with the 15 car who just snapped loose a moment ago.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually a little bit surprised at how little drop-off there has been. The handling, I think, might be going away from these guys maybe. But in terms of just overall lap time, we're talking about maybe half a second slower right now, 25 laps into this run, which to me seems like that's a pretty reasonable drop-off in lap time. Normally we'll see things a little bit more extreme, especially on a more abrasive surface. So impressive from these guys right now, the pace that they're still running. This deep into the run, I actually saw a couple of green laps, so personal best lap times deeper in the field on that past lap. I can't remember exactly who put those in there, but yeah, I mean, track conditions may be getting a little bit cooler potentially, or maybe just the tires aren't wearing as much as we might have expected. So right now, guys are able to run pretty strong, and you were seeing these guys get close back up here for this top 4 battle. This battle for the lead could start spicing up pretty quickly.
Oh, and I mentioned there, as I see what's left of that race car, I thought Johnny Thomas had rolled off there, but it looks like he's actually still out on the field there. Definitely not going to be very much competitive there, but good to see him still toughing it out and to pick up what perhaps he can. I mean, this thing is definitely not over by any means, but that 91 car, it's wounded, definitely.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's unfortunate to see. It's just kind of how the season goes, and with a short season like this too, that's really painful. You're hoping for a win to kind of help propel you forward, but we also have moved away from that win in your in system. So the points do matter, the results each race do matter, and if you get yourself in a bit of a hole during the season, it's hard to dig yourself out, as we've got a battle going on here for second.
Yeah, Scott Crump had a look underneath the 19 car. I think that 19 got a little bit loose. Entering the corner, almost opened it up in a big way. We saw Scott Crump try to take that as they now begin to navigate around lap traffic here. Chad Frankenfield's also been able to work his way up back into contention with his top 4. He had lost a little bit of ground after that sideways gaggle, and you see how well the 90 car is able to get to the back bumper of the 19. He just rolls the center of the corner so well. He almost gets into the back of the 19 car, it looks like.
Yeah, that racing gets really close, and man, I don't know how tough overtaking is going to be for everybody, but it looks like it's tough up front at least, just to get that run, and yeah, maybe going to need some support from behind from Chad Frankenfield if Tooker's getting some help from in front, because I think there's still going to be the effect of the draft here, and Chad can definitely take some of the air off of that splitter of the 90 car. But he's going to kind of have to regroup, regather, and set up another run here. So these guys it'll take a few laps, I think, to get set up. But there you see that mid-corner speed from that 90 car is really impressive. And I think it's the same for the 15 as well. And here comes Chad Frankenfield actually off the corner looking inside. But that seems to be where they're really strong. Those Toyotas, meanwhile, strong on corner entry, it seems, able to maybe not even there actually, but they're just kind of wrapping the bottom and running consistently at least throughout the corner. So, you know, Fords look like they're gaining positions or gaining time in a lot of places, but not quite able to gain enough to kind of make a move.
They haven't been. The Toyotas are doing well out front, but they have not been able to break away at all. I mean, the Fords are definitely right in their draft, their wake. And it's interesting to me, this full-length race here, Rashav, because this is something that's different than what we see with real NASCAR, and that is the fact that we do not have stages here. So you don't have the ability to, you kind of plan your race, kind of plan when you're going to go down pit road based on if a caution flag comes out, a guaranteed caution flag. So I think that adds another element here. Later on, when do you decide to pit? Because that could very much, because we don't have a guaranteed yellow flag, if you decide to short or undercut here, could that be something that we see with these guys later on?
It absolutely should matter, again, on long runs, you know, that when you come down pit road is going to be super important. And what I think, what we're seeing with tire wear or track temperatures, whatever it is, that's not really shifting lap times down that much or making lap times slower that much. It significantly devalues that undercut that we often see drivers making, where they'll pit really early and have a huge advantage. Or actually, no, it could. Oh, man, that's tough to really balance. I might even say that that's actually a good thing to have, because you'll get that half second. Ooh.
Sorry, the 8 car with a big slide there just behind these guys. Oh, we do have a stage 1 that will end on lap 90. Excuse me, don't know if that will trigger a yellow flag. So
no yellows, though, yep.
No yellows here, so we'll still continue on. Thank you there, Dave. Sorry about that there. So I saw the 8 car just behind that. Josh Robin with a big slide.
Yeah, no worries.
He was able to gather it up, but that definitely took mine and his breath away.
Yeah, Josh Robin, I think, actually not even on the track anymore. So something happened to that 8 car. Yeah, just I don't know what's happened with Josh Robin. We didn't really talk about him in one of the earlier caution flags that came out in the race, so it's tough to say exactly what went down there with that 8 car. But yeah, already down in 39th position, down a lap as well, down maybe 2 laps actually. So yeah, just not been Josh Robin's day here.
Up front though, Ethan Burrell is kind of trying to make this his day. He's led every lap here so far, as the battle is brewing between teammates for third. Chad Frankenfield back on the attack, and he's taking a look underneath Scott Crump. Won't complete the pass this time by. He tucks in back in line just behind the 90 of Scott Crump, but there's a little bit of daylight now between him and the 19, and Ethan Burrell has actually pulled out a little bit, about a 2-car length lead. Oh, Chad Frankenfield, very loose off the corner. He's in the grass, barely able to hang on. It snapped loose again on the 15 car, and he has to get out of it heavily, losing a bunch of positions as he heads into turn number 1.
Yeah, that's that characteristic we've been seeing. That's not the first time we've seen that 15 car look loose coming off of turn number 4, and that time it just got the better of Chad. Just snapped it. Great job though, saving it, pointing it in the right direction, not bringing out a caution. How many times have we seen a driver start to lose their car and then kind of exasperate the situation and end up in the wall or spun around and causing a caution? So great heads-up driving by Chad. He's got some work to do, though, to get back up now, down in 7th position. Was looking like one of those faster race cars out on the racetrack. So going to make, I think, quick work here of Tyler Fody, who that 40 car hasn't had much to say tonight. He's kind of just been rolling his own race. Though actually maybe not there. Fody gets by, and Rucker, I think, maybe even side drafting a little bit on that 15 car, pulled him back into his clutches.
It always amazes me the mindset that a driver has, after a mistake or something going wrong there inside the race car. I mean, he was off the racing surface. He was through practically the infield right there, and he's already challenging again, trying to get that position back. Not tell you the mentality of a racer there, to try to get everything that they can, even when all else is going wrong around them. So the 15 car already back on the offense, trying to get around that 40 car. He knows he has got to get caught back up now this time.
Yeah, he absolutely does, and we'll see if he's able to make work on Tyler Fody. Meanwhile, as Vincent Isabella now looking to the outside of Andrew Rucker, the Rucker closes off that lane option. Isabella actually one of the drivers that we're seeing maybe trying a little bit of a higher line, maybe even diamonding a little bit as we see him come back down a lane on the exit of turn number 2. So guys still experimenting a little bit with different lines through the corner, and even through there in 3 and 4, you see him about half a lane up from the guys in front of him. So Vincent might be one of those guys to watch out for in terms of trying different lines and maybe guys looking at his lap times and seeing if they're working. Right now, he's running similar lap times to what our leaders are, as meanwhile Scott Crump side by side with David Tooker, second place. The battle is very much on there. So despite not having Chad Frankenfield to support him, Crump with the inside line and potentially that preferred line in 3 and 4, going to try and overtake David Tooker here.
Yes, he got up underneath them in turn 3 as the car's in the wall just behind these guys now. I think he's trying to avoid that battle, but he actually ended up putting himself in the wall there. Thankfully, it did not affect the racing that we see. It's still side by side. David Tooker not going to give it up easily. Not pinching down the 90 car there, but loosen. A caution flag is out. Second one of the day there. I imagine it had something to do on the front stretch.
I don't know if it was on the front stretch, but it unfortunately is that 70 car of Jesse Rasmus again. So he gets loose and he hits Johnny Thomas again as well.
Thomas.
Ooh. And for Rasmus, that might be day over. If that was a tally on that first caution that went against that 70 car, if he gets another tally here, which I think he might, that might be forced to park that car if the damage isn't significant enough to do so.
You know, and at that point in time, there, I had to wonder. My first look was, did the 91, did he get into him? Perhaps,
maybe,
though.
yeah.
Maybe he may have had help. That could have been a retaliation right there. As we see the 32 Dustin Dewar, who had just so far sang the national anthem. Thankfully, he's not singing the blues.
Yeah,
by not getting caught up in this, but I think he got help. I think the 91 car was showing some displeasure there. And unfortunately, I kind of agree with them there, rightfully so. Don't know how iRacing Control will see that there, but right now I think on our scorebook, it's 1-1.
Yeah, it definitely is. I did actually was just scrolling through. I did see a tweet, Johnny Thomas openly tweeting he was not happy with the way the race started, called it a joke. So yeah, that could have been definitely retaliation there from that 91 car. We'll see if there's further action from race control on that one, but that could just be an eye for eye type situation here as our leaders are all on pit road. Pretty much the entire field is out on pit road. Jacob Adams in that 25 car. Oh wow, how about that? 91 car deemed at fault.
And he'll be parked for that move on the racetrack here. Drama unfolding here at Nashville here. We were talking about singing the blues. These people are now pulling out punches.
Yeah,
Racing a wrestling match broke out. Like,
yeah, man, that's crazy. We really haven't seen too much of that. Recently in the Elite Cup Series. So unfortunate to see there. It's that I can understand Johnny's frustration. But that's one of those things that we have a zero tolerance policy for in elite racing leagues, and that's intentional wrecking. Bumping guys and running side by side and racing hard, that's one thing, but taking a driver out and doing something like that, bringing out a caution especially, is frowned upon here, in the elite racing league. So end of the day for Johnny Thomas. For Rasmus, he does get to continue on, so apologies there to Jesse Rasmus on saying that was a tally against him on that caution. That was definitely the 91. I think that bumped into the back of him, caused that car to go around. But yeah, that's how that worked out.
Hey, I mean, the racing might not be real, but the emotions definitely are. Yeah. And we've seen this, time after time after time again. Somebody get another driver, especially in lap 2, that was just the end result. So can't say I fault the 91 there, put on my driver cap there, but for my racing control, it's pretty black and white. You can't do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as the cars continue to head around, I want to point out at least Jacob Adams, they're making the call not to come down pit road. Really interesting strategy there from a guy who hasn't pitted at all this race, 45 laps on a set of tires. I'm curious to see how that one plays out and curious as to understand that call. Obviously, staying out for one lap would get you kind of that lap-led point, bonus point that we have here in the Elite Racing Leagues. But he stayed out the entire time here on this caution, so no call to come down pit road. I'm curious what the call is going to result in and what it's going to look like here for Jacob Adams.
Yeah, especially on this restart as we get the one to go signal right there. He'll be in control of his destiny, at least for a short amount of time before everybody behind him that's on newer tires gobbles him up. Hopefully he'll be able to find some type of shelter here. But yeah, interesting call by Jacob Adams. By my calculations too, he will also, not only is he down tire-wise, but fuel-wise, he will have to go down pit road to pit in the next 30 or so laps if a caution flag does not come out. And with the exception of what we've seen with the 91 and the 70, we have not seen that yellow flag come out. So
yeah, it's these guys have done a really good job actually at kind of settling into the rhythm of this race. So looking forward to this restart. On fresher tires, maybe different track conditions to what the start was like, and obviously different positions a little bit for some drivers. So definitely a lot to look forward to. Note Scott Crump ahead of both David Tooker and Ethan Burrell, so he had a better launch off of pit road. We didn't mention that as we were covering the wreck. So yeah, Crump could potentially be in a great position with Tooker being bottled up there behind that 25 on this restart. Expect, though, these guys to make quick work of that Jacob Adams car.
all right, to the field in control of by the 25 car who gets going here first, and David Tooker all over the back of the 25, but Scott Crump on newer tires in the 37 car as well. The 25 way up high. It's going to be a 3-wide issue out of turn number 2, but everybody's able to escape the failing 25 car as he starts to begin to migrate to the back end of this top 10. Scott Crump will now take the lead for the first time today. Here comes David Tooker, and R.C. Anderson really putting the squeeze job and using the 25 as a lap pick for the 0-2 of Thornquist, who had nowhere to go behind that 25 car.
Yeah, Thornquist has to slot in then, and that forces Vincent Isabella to jump up the racetrack. And yeah, there you go. Caution flag there. Robert Hill Jr. showing as going off track. We'll see if that was... Oh, there it is, that 05 car. We caught just the end of it, though. So pop back onto the Whiskey Crest replay. Take a look and see what we can find with that 05 of Robert Hill Jr.
Third caution flag of the night here. Ends up on the front stretch this time, and this will be, taking a look at it, entering turn number 3. Did he have any help?
Let's take a look here. Slow things down. It doesn't look like he's too close to anybody unless he tracks up into that 14 car. That kind of brings him around. So let's take a look here. Off of 4. Now just kind of...
Yeah. It's starting to come out. Classic
Yeah,
case of loose. 97 car does a good job to get around. And actually, he does a great job of this car, not his problem, not making it anyone else's problem. Everyone's able to go through here and not tag him at all. Actually keeps it in the grass there to avoid further penalty from anybody else on the track. But nonetheless, the third caution flag is out, and perhaps a tally issued on that 05 car for bringing out that yellow flag.
Yeah, there you go. Just as you say, tally on the 05. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing we saw with Chad Frankenfield. Just Frankenfield was able to kind of point it in the grass and get it recovered there. You saw Hill just slowed down enough on the racetrack where the race officials felt it was necessary to bring out that caution. So, unfortunate we weren't quite able to get fully underway on that particular restart here, but allows guys to reset. For the guys up front, they're pretty happy about that, I think, because Jacob Adams falls back a few spots. Actually, he's just come down pit road, so he's going to fall all the way back to 30th spot, so right at the tail end of this lead lap. But that was an interesting experiment there, I think, for that 25 car. Didn't quite work out maybe the way he was hoping, but grabbed some fresher tires. Though potentially he was hoping for that short run to a caution and have just that few laps fresher tires.
I think that would have worked out to his benefit there. But unfortunately, the yellow flag just coming out right there. And of course, he's not going to be really going to gain the ground he would have liked on newer tires. Just one lap difference, though. But under the caution flag for the third time today, hey, we got to describe 300 laps here for you guys tonight. So we're going to take a quick break while we still can under the yellow flag. So don't go anywhere. The Decor Depot 400 will be back in just a moment.
As we roll here, want to take a chance to thank our premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing League, starting with C2 Freight Resources and their EDI services. EDI stands for Electronic Data Interchange Services, which allow shippers to keep close electronic tabs on their shipments throughout the entire freight movement process. For more information about EDI services or to discuss your needs for other specialized services, please contact C2 Freight. We'd also love to thank Blue Egg Marketing. They're the marketing department for small businesses. If you're a small business owner, well, Blue Egg Marketing is your marketing department. They're going to be your absolute biggest fan. Whatever your constraints are, they help catalyze creativity, and they'll help your business punch above its weight class. I also want to thank Powerhouse Recycling, another premier sponsor here at the Elite Racing Leagues. They strive to offer the highest level of customer service in the industry for each load process time and time again. Attainable account representatives, prompt and on-time pickups, and customized recycling solutions keep Powerhouse Recycling as North Carolina's market leader in customer service. Massive thanks to those premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues. And, of course, we'll drop a quick mention to our race sponsor here tonight. New on board with us for the 2022A season, Decor Depot. Purveyors of fine vintage goods on Etsy since 2019. They're based in the foothills of the Pocono Mountains. Check out Decor Depot. Look them up on Google. You'll find their Etsy shop. A lot of really cool stuff there available. Cars lined up.
Restart. Sorry.
No worries. I was just gonna say cars lined up 2 by 2, and we're just getting ready here to get rolling. So on the same page as you, Alex.
As always, there with the 90 is Scott Crump. He likes to start on the outside this time by RC Anderson has been able to move up inside the top 3 for the first time here tonight. Ethan Burrell, our pole sitter, kind of migrated back to the just how they're running. Ethan Burrell is currently 3rd, but RC Anderson still is the highest he has been in the running order, and then just behind him, Chad Frankenfield, who had that big moment, couple of big moments there, depending on how you look at it, out of turn 4, as we are back under green once again. Looks like they caught the 19 of David Tooker sleeping. That's going to be RC Anderson taking advantage, and he'll go from 4th to 2nd by the time they reach turn number 1 at speed. The 90 car leading, but it's a side-by-side battle. 2nd place on back.
Yeah, this was a huge opportunity right there for White Lightning
yellow.
Racing. Oof. Looks like something a little bit further in back. Was going to say, huge opportunity for White Lightning Racing because they had all 3 of their Mustangs lined up on the outside lane. That gave them that kind of great chance to restart because, again, you're kind of communicating with each other when you go back to green flag racing. Worked out for RC Anderson. Chad Frankenfield didn't quite, they weren't running long enough, I think, for Frankenfield to really benefit from that. We're going to head back here. Looks like started with Tom Bourne and Cody Harrington. So it looks like these two, the 16 car and the 14. No, it's Dustin Dewar actually slides in there in that 32 car. Very late into the corner there. 16. Oh, and that 16 rolls down the racetrack and comes into contact. Man, you can't do that there, Tom Bourne.
That is unfortunate there. You mentioned there when you have an issue like that, it's just very well known just to hold the brake. Don't come rolling in, and unfortunately, he was a victim himself. The 32 car just gets in there way late into the corner, turns the 16 around, but this is the point where you just lock it down as a competitor. But, the 66 car, Scott Haney got a piece of it. I mean, 3 other cars involved in that once the 16 started rolling back down the track.
Yeah, I was trying to see who else was involved in that one. It might have been... not Scott Haney. He had damage, I think, from earlier. It was
the 66 was involved.
Yeah, we saw that with Harrington. I was trying to see maybe it was a lighter colored car. Possibly no. Brody Moore's been out of this one for a little while. But yeah, caused by the 32 car. Tom Bourne dives onto pit road. Yeah, not the move there for Tom Bourne, but also I think we go back here and you're gonna see it's pretty clear that 32 car just way late into the corner here. You can see just
it's
that
interesting
closing
to
distance,
me, considering we had just gone back to green right here.
Yeah.
Looks like he knew he was in trouble before he got to the 16 there, but
potentially
Tom
just
really was a victim right there. Before becoming the only victim, he did take a couple more with him.
Absolutely, yeah. There was that. We go down. Yeah, Cody Harrington. This is, I mean, if you're the 66 car, You see this, you're diving low. He makes that kind of call, and that 16 car just rolling down the racetrack. And I can't quite see the number on that one. That's the 81 car. Who is that? Alexander Gray. There it is. Yeah. So for Alex Gray in that 81 car, yeah, just man, just unfortunate there that the way that situation played out. Of course, for Tom Bourne to be the bystander in the initial incident, but then to roll that car down and take out 2 more cars with him. That's you hate to see that for all drivers involved.
We don't want to. I myself, because this is new to me. Was that just not paying attention there on the 16 car as well? I mean, what could have just perhaps? Did he think he was in the way? Did he try to roll it out of the way? What's it like inside the race car once you find yourself in harm's way? Are you what's the mentality? I guess you want to say. Do you automatically lock down and just hold the brake, or are you trying to get actively out of the way?
I think that it depends, honestly, on certain situations. In a situation like that, you kind of want to just lock it down. But obviously, it's a little bit tricky because you're also running. You're right there on the racetrack, so you're potentially you can have conflicting thoughts, and I can totally see why a driver would do what Tom Bourne did there. Which is saying, hey, I'm right in the middle of the racetrack right now. If I roll this car to the bottom, I'm at least out of the way. But the problem is that the guys who see him at the top of the racetrack are thinking, okay, if I roll to the bottom of the racetrack, he'll be out of my way because he's up on the racetrack right now. So the problem is that both of them are thinking that same thing. And I think generally it's probably recommended that if you're in an incident, you spun around, lock it down until everybody is around you. If you're out on the apron or something, maybe you can roll it onto the racetrack. If there's a guarantee of no driver going to your inside, then yeah, go for it, or to any of those directions that you're heading. But in that situation, it might make sense to lock it down. It could also be, this could be Tom Bourne tried locking it down, and maybe on the banking, the brakes locked up and he just slid down. It's kind of hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure the wheels were rolling there. So that's kind of where that thought process comes from.
There is 14 degrees of banking here on this racetrack. And he would have been very much using all of it sideways there, sitting in the corner. But just an unfortunate set of circumstances. And really quickly, our third yellow flag of the night, or excuse me, our fourth yellow flag of the night because of it. So we'll see if we can. We had what was a promising green flag run. Now quickly by yellow fever here as of late. But we'll see if we can get back to form here. As Scott Crump going to lead R.C. Anderson on the bottom. And the pace car is back on pit road. Here comes the 90 car to take the green flag, working lap 57 to 300. Now 58.
Yeah, so R.C. Anderson slots right up inside there behind that 90 car. And if Frankenfield can get around David Tooker, that's another huge win for White Lightning Racing. You have 3 teammates then leading the way. But Tooker is going to try and hold strong on the inside is the 84 of Wyatt Knadel.
Yes,
Jeff
and
Green.
Jeff Green.
Yeah.
Yellow flag quickly back out, and it's going to be a long night if this trend continues to bow out here. Let's take a look and see what happens here. The 84 car gets loose in front of the 2000 Xfinity Series champion. Both heading into the grass there. Doesn't look like a lot of damage on the 38 car, and perhaps that 84 car, where he was hit, doesn't necessarily seem like it'll impact the engine. Aerodynamically, though, that car not going to be sound. But, that was a pretty significant hit for the 38 car. And he's going to get Joshua Clark. And I believe, who was that there just on the edge?
I believe it was
that purple car right there.
I saw the 83 there. I'm trying to remember who that is. That's Shane Terrian. Yep, there he is. So a little bit of damage maybe on that 83 Sky Motorsports Mustang, but primarily the big damage there done to Jeff Green, Wyatt Knadel as they go off the racetrack. And yeah, that same condition we've been seeing all night long from drivers is that just kind of snapping loose off the corner. We've seen it up front from drivers running for top 3 positions. We've seen it further back in the pack, and we saw it just there again for Knadel. So. Just going to show right now, this car is a little bit tricky, and it talked about at the top of the show when we had that first caution. There you go. So that actually was on the previous caution. So severe damage penalty for not holding the brakes. So that's kind of what we were talking about. And then the caution caused by the 84 on this most recent one. So two updates there from race control. So shout out to our guy on the ground there, Dave Huck, listening into race control and getting those messages relayed back towards us here.
Severe damage penalty. I've never heard that one, though. What is the penalty does that entail? I imagine it was because of him rolling for not, holding the brakes. But is that remedied by laps lost, tail end of the longest line? I'd like to know.
That
exactly
is
what that penalty entices.
That is an excellent question, and I'm going to go pull up the rule book and see if I can find that.
We have time for some here. We're working caution number 6 here tonight, so why not pull out the handy-dandy rule book. As he's taking a look at that, take a look through some of the comers and goers inside the top 10. We already mentioned R.C. Anderson and Chad Frankenfield. All those teammates there doing a great job trying to put a beat into Pro Edge, who has been dominant as of late. Their cars, Pro Edge Racing-wise, are in the 4th and 5th position. You see Isabella just outside the top 5. Tyler Fode and Jared Rexing having some good days there. Chad Thurnquist, he was inside the top 5, kind of got held up when Jacob Adams didn't pit right there and was used as a pick by another competitor, so that kind of put him back in the 10th position. And because of the rash of yellow fever that we have, he's just not been able to get back that lost track position just outside of the top 10. Harrison Talon doing a great job humming along in 11th. Matthew Weeks, Pocono winner from a couple of weeks ago, he is in 12th. Trey Holmes, this is the guy that is actually failed to qualify a couple of races here, so it's great to see him not only make the race there, but having a great day so far. He's running along in the 12th position, and actually, I was going to mention just before the second yellow flag come out, he was in the top 10, so glad to see Trey Holmes having a good run early in this one. Joshua Adams in that 95 car running in the 14th, and then Daniel Martinez, your top 15 cars on the field.
So just got word back. So that severe damage penalty that the 16 car got, it's pretty severe. It is a 10-point tally on that 16 car. So while a normal caution is a 1-point tally, it's a 10-point severe damage. So they really frown upon that action there up in race control from the 16 car.
Oh yes, that is, and that's something I'm guessing. We don't ought to talk about penalties like that, but when one driver makes one like that, that's significant here. I imagine that is echoed throughout the entire field, and a lot learned there. So hopefully we won't see anything like that happen again. But that is unfortunate. Kind of adding insult to injury. He was a victim, but he really did compound that issue there in turn 2.
Yeah, that was the main issue there. Is you could have saved 2 cars races. Had he kind of not responded after the incident. So, it's like you said, it's lessons learned. It's you kind of figure out, from those mistakes, and also coming in from different leagues, potentially you have different rules on that kind of stuff. So understanding for Tom Bourne how the elite racing leagues kind of rolls on that kind of decision making. Learning experience for him, but I guarantee he'll be strong. He's had a solid season so far, looking to continue to kind of expand on that and improve. But here we go. It is White Lightning 1, 2, 3, and that's how they take off here. We'll see what the 2 Pro Edge Toyotas right behind them can do, but you've also now got Lake Norman Motorsports and their 2 Chevrolets right behind them, and you want to talk about how this is going. There's contact between the 2 teammates there. I was going to say
contact so much, or if the 12 car just got loose on the outside of Tyler Fode right there, but he's going to lose that position to the 0-2 of Thurnquist.
Potentially there. So for Isabella, but I was going to say you have kind of the 3 of the real juggernaut teams here that have dominated the elite racing leagues over the past few seasons. White Lightning, formerly Richmar Florist and 90 Motorsports, they've kind of all merged into one team here. We've got all over the place. We've got cars around.
Multiple cars involved. You saw the 26 into the outside wall. The 88 of Trey Holmes, heavily damaged. The 28 of Joshua Clark. I believe that all began, I saw as you were talking there, I saw the 0-2 of Thurnquist have an issue just ahead of these guys, and it is chaos. Vincent Isabella in front of this. this accident started in the top 10 and worked its way through the rest of the field. The 44 car, the 5, the 88.
Yeah, we got to get a better look at this
here at Nashville.
Yeah, you don't normally expect that here at a 1.3 mile racetrack. But oh my gosh, this one's going to be very interesting. So we'll try and get an overhead view here. We got the blimp on that 12 car.
Yes,
oh, it's actually the 02. Yeah,
I saw the 02. That's what I saw, and then Vincent Isabella had to respond to that, and as everybody else, Matthew Weeks gets a piece of it. As everybody responded back to that, I mean, the greater the risk was of potentially getting into a crash because two drivers suddenly are at half speed in the corner. Thornquist with the first car sideways entering the corner there, and Vincent Isabella had to respond to that. And then suddenly, I just mentioned Trey Holmes. He was having such a good run, gets into the 88, and then plows into the outside wall. Joshua Clark. Wow, Joshua Adams in the 95, threading the needle right there.
Yeah, we might need to ride on board with that 95 car, don't we?
That's chaos going on. Or what was it? The 95? It may have been the 81. I don't know. It was a red car. It looked like.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. Tough to see here. Let's take a look. See who I can spot in the Whiskey Cast replay. A lot of cars going all over the place on the racetrack here. So we shall see.
Multiple cars. And this is going to take a big chunk of what I expected to be heavyweight contenders there involved. I mean, we saw Matthew Weeks get a piece of it. I saw Andrew Rucker also go with Vincent Isabella had damage. I'm trying to write down the numbers, at least, of who I saw all involved, but my list is well over 10 cars here in this incident.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I think the car you might have seen here, we'll head on board here, and it might have been Robert Hill Jr. in the 05 car. But let's take a look at this here. As Hill, there's the incident going on in front of him, and we'll just kind of see the C's part for this car here. Yeah, there you go.
Yes, it was. Robert Hill Jr., who had brought out the caution flag, several cautions ago, but he's able to work through all of that.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, cars back here that got involved. Matthew Weeks he spun around. He doesn't look like he has much damage. Josh Clark though has pretty big damage. Hunter Smith, did he avoid it? No, it looks like he got caught up in something there as well. Goodman has damage. Haney had damage from earlier. Trey Holmes. Bronson Stafford shown here as well.
I'm just gutted for the 88 car. I had just mentioned, he was running along in the 12th position. That's how forward this wreck was and how magnified it worked its way throughout the entire field practically.
Yeah, that really was the big one. Looking at cars that were involved, you have Goodman, Holmes, Clark, Balvance, Hines. Rucker was involved there. Don't know if he got too much damage. Stafford we mentioned. Thornquist, of course, was kind of one of the... Thornquist and Isabella kind of had... there you go, warning issued to the entire field. The race control is getting a little bit sick of the way the restarts have been going. But yeah, you kind of saw that tandem drift there almost from the 02 and the 12 car, and that really kicked off this entire this entire series of incidents.
So caution flag number 7 is out here in the field. Certainly a lot more beat up than what we saw just even 10 laps ago. We have yet to really put since what began from a retaliation and why the 91 car was parked is because you never know the snowball effect there. Rashad, this race had a green flag run to it. We could have been working well lap into 100 by now, but because of that what began, I like to call it the domino effect, the 91 getting back into the 70 car, this has now amplified significantly throughout the entire field. We have not been going to consecutive laps since we had that yellow flag here under green.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the old saying, cautions breed cautions, right? And right now, guys are packed up together, trying to maybe make some moves here, trying to gain track position on 68 of 300. and just maybe getting a little bit too excited too early. But we're back to green flag racing. Scott Crump leads the way over teammates RC Anderson and Chad Frankenfield. Then you've got the Pro Edge Racing Toyota side by side of Burrell and Tooker. But yeah, guys just need to maybe single file out here, sort out their running at least right now, and get back to it. And it's interesting. We'll kind of see how people tolerate these restarts throughout the course of the season, because if this car truly does handle that similarly to an Indy car, it could potentially even be worth looking at for these guys. And unfortunate for the spectacle if it's the case, but single file restarts as they run in IndyCar, where the cars, because they're so difficult to handle, you can't send everybody side by side through a corner. We'd hate to see that, but that could be a solution there to open up some more green flag racing and allow the runs to really stretch out.
And we've seen that actually rule been initiated in iRacing Control. We've seen that actually translate to real life there when drivers seem to have an issue there. I remember back, it was last done in the Cup Series back at Bristol during the spring race at the dirt there. Just too much dirt actually became a safety issue. And so they had the field go to single file. But that is something that's underneath the control of iRacing Control to decide if we do not get more green flag racing in. Working lap 71 of 300. We're about almost an hour in to this race broadcast. We see RC Anderson, though, slide up the racetrack. That's allowed his teammate Chad Frankenfield to get in front of him, as we see Harrison Talon with a big wobble out of turn 2, and another car just behind him, almost in the grass right there. I think we're going to gather it up.
Yeah, everybody's through right now, side by side. Oh, the 33, though, Daniel Martinez.
In the grass, single car issue. And he's back on the racing surface there. Looks like we stay under green.
Man, yeah, these cars just so tricky to handle here, as you see Talon lose a couple of spots there to Isabella and Myhand. Yeah, right now guys shuffling around for positions. I think guys honestly slipping and sliding around this racetrack here. We've got two wide, Tyler Fody and David Tooker through turns 1 and 2. Meanwhile, further back, Isabella in the wall.
Yes, and he chucked it pretty hard into turn 2 right there. And you can see the right side seat metal heavily damaged there. That is going to need the attention, I believe, of a pit stop if he carries on. I can't imagine that car is going to be handling right, but he had a big wobble 1 lap ago, and he smacked that outside wall hard into turn 1.
Yeah, you can see that damage on the right side fender of the 12 car. We'll see how that changes the handling of it. Actually, the entire right side, not just the front right, but the entire right side of that 12 car. So hard smack on the outside wall of 2. Yeah, going to hurt his opportunities. He looked like he was kind of chasing that car all day, though, kind of moving around the racetrack, finding the right line for him that would have worked. But unfortunately, that car looked to be snapping pretty bad on him. So unfortunate for Vincent. But we still got these guys going 2 by 2 here. You've got Tyler Fody on the inside, David Tooker on the outside, and then you've got the 95 of Josh Adams, who's had a quietly good race so far tonight, and Andrew Rucker getting involved here in this fight for 5th as well.
Yeah, Andrew Rucker, he was involved in that big one there that brought out our last yellow flag. Don't know exactly how much damage he got, but he was definitely in the grass. Looks like he's been able to remedy that, though. They're solidly inside the top 10, running along in the 8th position. Just behind him, though, Dallas Myhand in that 26 car. Haven't talked much about him as well. He's outside of the frame, actually. The 19 of David Tooker is leading that second pack. And there's Dallas Myhand in third quest here, who had that big issue. I know that no tally was issued to any of these guys, but that 0-2, that him being loose as Harrison Talon slides through the grass. Can he hang on to it? Really loose inside the racetrack, and everybody gets by okay. That 23 car, though, not handling to Harrison's liking at all.
No, not at all, and I don't think this car is handling to anyone's liking at all, except maybe Scott Crump, who's pulled out to about a half-second lead over RC Anderson in second position, but everybody right now just seems to be struggling for overall grip on these things. So whether that's a setup issue or it's just straight up this car, and I think it is just this car is so snappy, it's so different for what they're used to. Again, you have to be a little bit more decisive with your inputs, I think, behind the steering wheel. And what you might be seeing here are the guys who have spent a lot of time to get used to the car, or the guys who are used to maybe more familiar with driving those Indy cars, maybe even finding their ways towards the front. You see R.C. Anderson, Chad Frankenfield, both with extensive IndyCar iRacing experience, and R.C. Anderson with IndyCar real-life experience. They're kind of moving towards the front here and haven't had too many issues in terms of falling their way off the racetrack. Chad's had a couple of snaps, but he hasn't ever had one that's overcome him, at least on this particular night.
Trying to overcome him right now, though, is that 37 car, Ethan Burrell, trying to give it to these White Lightning guys up front. Our pole setter going to get to the inside of Chad Frankenfield, who's hanging on tough on that outside lane, but the 37 car, I believe, that is where the 15 car wants to be. You see him taking all the way to the apron. No out of bounds line here at Nashville. If it's paved, you can run it. But the 15 car there is going to be able to pinch him down just a little bit on exit. This side-by-side battle has now not drawn 1, but 2, 3, and 4 other competitors inside it. There are 7 cars battling for second right now. R.C. Anderson moves up the racetrack there just a little bit, and this side-by-side battle for third has allowed everybody on back to join.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy how quickly this battle has turned into a pretty big pack here. As now you've got Tooker looking to the outside, trying to get around Fody, using Ethan Burrell on the bottom maybe as a bit of a pick, or trying to pull himself along with Frankenfield on the outside. We'll see how this works out for Scott Crump. He's maybe loving this just a little bit. He's got about a 4/10 of a second lead on R.C. Anderson. But even then, he's probably not pulling away maybe as much as he might hope with all this chaos going on behind him. So, yeah, let's see kind of who's the fastest guy and who's able to pull out in front here, and if that person then is able to chase down Scott Crump. But right now, this gaggling for positions right now, it is allowing Crump to feel relatively safe up front there, and even R.C. Anderson as well. Frankenfield kind of that first car in danger of losing his position with Burrell right on the bumper of that 15 car.
Yeah, now it looks like that battle settled in favor of the 15 car. He was able to hang on from the attack made by the 37 car on that inside lane. And now things have begun to quiet down just a little bit, though. But second through, practically 8th place, all within 1 second of one another there. Scott Crump there not jetting up to a big lead that you would kind of expect when they're side by side like that there. It's actually settled down, and they're actually reeling him in.
Yeah, they are. It is kind of crazy that gap for some reason hasn't changed. It's maybe gone down a little bit for Scott Crump. So something about maybe these guys going side by side right now is working for them pace wise. But they've got R.C. Anderson back inside this battle, and Crump as well is not far out of reach here as the sun continues to set. Expect track conditions to continue to get cooler and maybe allow guys to race closer with each other.
And again, we only had one pit stop for these guys there, even though, well, I'll put it this way. There's only one pit stop made for the top guys that have not been involved in a caution flag as of late. Working lap 85 of 300, these guys have only been down pit road one time, so they've only been able to make only really one adjustment on their race cars here. We're really beginning to see that play into action now as we currently are working, hopefully, our second green flag run of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting if this run goes long. Then you start looking at drivers like Chad Thornquist, Jared Rexing, Alexander Van de Sant, who all actually pitted on one of the more recent cautions that we had, at least more recent than all the guys in front of them, and they could potentially stretch it out a little, stretch it out just a little bit more. So, yeah, if we do get a long run here, that's really great for these guys. It gives them an opportunity on strategy. But if we continue to see cautions, this lead group obviously with that advantage of track position and everybody likely coming down at the same point, as we got a car up in the wall trying to just get out of the way, I think.
Yes, he does so there, and it's not going to be a factor as Third Quest gets around him as well. But lap 87, and the books don't know if Dave could put up our stage 1 graphic. Oh, and just as I was about to talk about it, the yellow flag is out. So I believe stage 1, if it's lap 90, might end under yellow.
Ooh. This could
and
be
if it does,
interesting.
That means the 90 car will be up front. But if it's lap 95, then we'll have to see. I didn't know if it was 90 or 95.
Well, so first stage, I believe, is on lap 90. Let me double check that. Yep, stage 1 is 90 laps long. And we're running lap 88 right now. I wonder if lap 90, or when they tick over, is going to be the lap that pit road opens. And if somebody stays out to try and grab, yeah, this caution will end the stage. What I don't know is, are they scoring the drivers right now as this is the end of the stage, or are they scoring them when they hit lap 90? Because if it's lap 90, someone could stay out and not pit this time by.
That would be interesting.
It'd be a strategy to get some big stage points there. Obviously, quite a few points on offer. That's definitely an option for guys to stay out here. We'll see kind of what the decision making looks like for these drivers here.
Looks like Scott Crump's going to give that up.
Okay, so yeah.
But it looks like stage points will be awarded there to lap 87. And that's probably the right thing there. NASCAR themselves, I've heard from Race Control, they would, if there's no way to get the, what do you call it, the race restarted before the end of the stage, then they will award the points or finish out the stage under the yellow flag. So that's good for him. He was out front when it counted the most. So leading lap 90 will be car number 90, Scott Crump, getting the stage 1 win. We're supposed to see yellow flag here, but here we are.
Yeah, it works out pretty well, I suppose. There, if if you're familiar with obviously real world NASCAR, where we have stage breaks. RC Anderson, great launch off there, almost beats teammate Scott Crump there off of pit road there, but it's still going to be the 90, then the 50, then the 15, your top 3, and then Ethan Brell and Tyler Fody rounding out your top 5. David Tooker, Josh Adams, Andrew Rucker, Alexander Vandesant, and Chad Thornquist, your top 10. So for those guys who pitted later, obviously, like we were mentioning, they don't really get a chance to play out that strategy a little bit. They're back on the same strategy as everybody else.
Surprised that we didn't see that 37 car make up as much time being the first pit stall right there on these guys. I was expecting him to perhaps try and leapfrog. That's a huge benefit of having that number 1 pit stall right there, but maybe he's just not getting out the box as closely as he would like. But nonetheless, here is going to be the official end of stage 1, excuse me. As we are getting set for stage 2, and that's our second pit stop here. It's going to be a long night here, Rasav. I think we covered that, but however, the issues that we are seeing here, it looks like the next-gen car is still just proving to be a handful for a lot of these guys throughout the entire field.
I think so, yeah. It's just such a massive learning curve from the last generation car to what this new next gen car is, or I guess now current gen car. We can call it. So yeah, it's gonna take some time, and it's tricky. Guys have spent so much time. I think you flip it in the positive sense. We've spent so many years saying we want the cars to be harder to drive. We want the cars to require more driver talent, to have the driver really be the one making the difference. They've been given that opportunity now, so it's going to take some time to adjust. But I think hopefully we'll start to see better racing as the season progresses, and also you'll start to see more often the better drivers coming out on top and winning. In that respect, right? So, I mean, not that we weren't having good drivers winning our old races, but in theory, it should be, this is more of a driver's car than I think it's ever been before.
I saw an amazing stat here. And actually, let me see if I can pull it up from the real world here. Forgive me for taking a second, because you brought up something that was so that I wanted to touch on. It was from NASCAR on Fox here, from our real world here, and I wanted to see if it was still here. Yes, so through the first 4 races that we've had 4 different race winners, 4 different pole winners, 4 different drivers to finish runner-up, 4 drivers with multiple top 5 finishes, 4 different drivers to lead the most laps in a race, 4 different drivers to win stage 1, and 4 different drivers to win stage 2. That's just the parody of this car.
That's incredible.
It has thrown everything into chaos here.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see that, right? Who has the best, in real life, obviously, who has kind of the biggest team or the most money doesn't matter as much anymore, because everybody's getting the same chassis. Now it is in the driver's hands, and it's in the engineer's hands. In the elite racing leagues, it's purely in the driver's hands here. You step in that car, everybody obviously has that same car, but it's even more challenging to drive now. So those drivers who kind of have that extra talent, who are really able to extract something out of these cars, they kind of shine. They show up and really show off their skills here in the Elite Racing League. So loving this next-gen car. We're still figuring out those teething pains of, you know, some shorter runs that we'd like at certain points in the race, but man, once the racing gets, you know, we get these long runs going, you know, you remember that last long run we had earlier on in the race, and it was some great racing we were seeing towards the end of it. Guys kind of all over each other and such close lap times all throughout the field.
Scott Crump going to be the early leader in stage 2 here. This one will be 95 laps here, so that will end on, I believe, lap 185 as things are getting tight behind the White Lightning cars. Ethan Burrell now under attack from Tyler Fody in the 40 car there. They're side by side for 4th place, and the yellow flag is back out.
Yeah, Fody will get that position then, it appears. And we'll take a look at what brought out this next caution flag, as I believe we're on caution number 7. Oh, cars all over the place. Looks like Jeff Green got sent up into the wall. You see there, that's Zach Evans in that new fine Ford Mustang. But it looks like it all started. Jeff Green maybe got hit by somebody, because it didn't look like that 38 car just kind of launched up to the top of the racetrack on its own either.
Take a look and see, riding on board with the 38 car.
So we'll, yeah, let's
odd way to see here. One just come across the track right there, and unfortunately, caution.
No, he does yeah.
It just snapped loose, but you know the 29 had an issue right in front of him, and I wonder if he, as I like to call it, the stutter brake, where you brake a little bit, not knowing where that guy is going, and if that just got him in trouble right there, because I saw the 29 car just in front of him, suddenly dramatically fall off the pace, and that would be Trevor Elam there in that 29. Let's take a look and see if that was an issue.
Yeah.
Yes, he gets loose, and then right in that same section, but I don't know if that was necessarily Jeff Green reacting to that, or if they both were having the exact same problem at the exact same time.
Yeah, it looks like it was Jeff Green reacting. At least that's how Race Control just judged it there as a racing deal. I think if Jeff Green was, if they viewed that as it was Jeff Green who kind of lost it at the same time as Elam, they'd probably put that tally on the 38 car for causing that incident. But I think they saw that as a checkup, and that just goes to kind of the point we've been, you know, kind of hammering home all race long, is that these cars, you can't make those same micro adjustments that you could in the old cars. You can't, if you slam on the brakes here, the car is going to react in a much more severe way than it ever did before. So again, it's all a learning process, and even, you know, maybe even potentially harder for a 2000 Busch Series champion, someone who's so used to the old way that stock cars drive. These are very different to traditional stock cars. So many technological advancements on these cars to make them very different from an old, an older generation stock car, even from last year. But you go back, more and more years ago, and they're just so different. So much more in tune, I think, with modern car design. So it takes a lot more to kind of figure out what's going on here. If you've really gotten used to those older style of race cars, it takes a long time to get used to these new ones.
So caution number 8 on the speedway here. Just shy of lap 100 and 1/3 of the race distance going to be complete here momentarily. But as I mentioned, we have a long race to describe for you guys tonight, so we'll take a little bit of a break ourselves if we're underneath the yellow flag here. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back for the restart.
All right, we got them lined up 2 by 2, heading out of turn number 4. Pace car is going to peel off, and we're going to get these guys back out on the racetrack under green flag conditions. It's going to be Scott Crump, Chad Frankenfield, R.C. Anderson leading the field back to green flag. We also got 2 of those Pro Edge Toyotas out on the outside lane. Also look out for Tyler Fode on that inside lane. But right now, it is Mustang, though Tyler Fode trying to stick that Chevy Camaro in to try and take away 3rd spot. And it looks like he's got that on Chad Frankenfield.
Oh, he barely sliced right in front of the 15 car. I don't think he could fit a piece of paper between the 15 and the 40 car as they rounded to turn number 3 at speed. Here comes Ethan Burrell trying to take a look, though. Not going to be close enough to challenge, though, but the 40 car, he's worked his way inside the top 3 here, looking for 2 more positions there as things are chaotic, to say the least, here behind him. Right now, we're taking a look at the 95 and the 97 car. You see Jared Rexing in the 0-2 and Thornquist there, trying to rebound from that earlier issue as well, working lap 99. Next time by, we'll be in the triple digits here with 1/3 of the race complete here at Nashville.
Yeah, it's been a long first third here. We'll see if we can get these guys rolling, as this race progresses here. As here you go, Van de Sant, one of your Final Four drivers from last season, a driver that I think hasn't shown quite, the hand that we've been expecting from him this season. Obviously, switched back to an open driver part-time schedule. So unfortunate to see that. Oh, is the 26 of Dallas Myhan goes to the inside, just hits the wall there, but off the racetrack. Think we're going to avoid a caution on that. We'll see, though. Don't back it up onto the racetrack there, Dallas. Keep it off there. And hopefully we stay under green flag conditions, which I believe we will for now. Back up front then, Crump.
Car issue.
Yeah, Crump and R.C. Anderson going at it for the lead, but right now the battle's still going on there for 4th position. So Frankenfield got back past Tyler Fode, and Fode now under attack from Ethan Burrell there. Meanwhile, David Tooker and Alexander Van de Sant going side by side through that corner. Van de Sant in that 97 car rolling forward real quick as Thornquist goes up the racetrack.
Yeah, had a moment there in turn 4, and unfortunately now he's being eaten alive by everybody at speed. He's going to lose at least 4 or 5, make it 6 positions by the time he reaches back up to pace in turn 1. Right now, the battle, though, side by side for the 97 of Van de Sant. He's underneath David Tooker right there. He'll grab that position, move David Tooker back to the 7th spot. Andrew Rucker and Joshua Adams quietly having a great run inside the top 10 in that 95 car, trying to take advantage of the 19 car continuing to fade just a little bit inside the top 10.
Look at this battle for the lead here. 5 cars nose to tail going into turn number 1. Really nothing separating any of them. RC, though, goes way up high on the racetrack. You can see him fighting that car, wheeling it, as does Fode coming off of turn number 2, and that's going to spread these guys all the way around this racetrack.
Crash.
Oh! Robert Hill Jr.
Hard into the outside wall, and others are involved. I think Daniel Martinez in the 33 got a piece of it. And Robert Hill Jr. for the 2nd time today is going to bring out a yellow flag, and another competitor behind him also with damage.
Let's head back to that iRace that Whiskey Cast replay, and take a look at what happened here with that 05 car. See if we can spot anything. Was it contact with another driver or just one of those loose situations that we've been seeing all throughout the night?
Yep.
Oh,
and it
yep.
snaps in the worst way.
Yep. Anybody else get caught up in that? Or looks like...
Yes. 2
Some
other
guys...
cars still sliding out of frame right there. I think one of them was... well, we'll have to take a look there. It was a dark blue car.
Yeah, we'll maybe see if we can grab that.
Also a big break for Dallas Myhan, who had spun that did not trigger the yellow, by the way.
Yeah, let's take a look here. 05, Robert Hill. Let's roll this at quarter speed here. So you're going to start to see it just snap there off the corner. I mean, that's a tiny snap, but that's enough to really set these cars off. And you see there at that point, he's lost it. So yeah, 2nd self-spin tally for the 05. Unfortunate for Robert Hill Jr. He's going to be parked for the night. That 25 car just avoids that, but I think it's going to be this next pack of cars. We're going to see a couple of them. We're going to see like 4 of them stream by him all at the same time here. So get ready for what could be a pretty interesting. We'll see if we can grab it as a still image. Just as the timing screen goes. How about that?
Yeah. That's Nick Massey in the 48.
Yeah, 48 of Nick Massey, 28 of Joshua Clark, 33 Daniel Martinez, 89 of Brent Jones gets through, I think, pretty clean, as does Wyatt Knadel. But there you see, that's the 48 car Nick Massey sliding around there. So does
And Daniel Martinez, yes.
Yeah, man.
I was right. I saw a dark blue car, but it's going to be Daniel Martinez, who in my initial view is going to have heavy damage to the inside wall. And Nick Massey, he's just not been having a good night. I actually saw him kind of just flirting around with the 30th position right there. He's kind of been in the back of the field all night long. Looks like the 83 car is going to have an EOL there. But yeah, 05, he had made such a grand move to make it through that big crash on lap 69, but unfortunately, because that was his second spin, he is done for the night.
Yeah, unfortunate there. He was actually having an all right night. Was up inside the top 15, I think, when the incident occurred. So was running all right there for Mountain Man Motorsports. And unfortunate for that it ends like that, but that's part of how this racing goes here. So surprisingly, I think this is This is 3 cars parked for the night, actually I don't know if that 16 car got parked officially or if it was just a point penalty.
10 points.
Yeah, so
there.
2 cars parked though, but still one of the most penalty-filled nights I think we've seen in a little while, especially since moving away from the end of line penalty. There you go, the 84 though with that same penalty, so 2 of those in the same night. Wow, 84 car Wyatt Knadel.
That's interesting to see because I didn't see exactly what brought that out.
I don't know if that was on the previous caution, if they were reviewing that, or if that was on this most recent caution. Could hop back.
We saw him sneak by on the outside lane there.
Yeah. We'll pop back to the iRace Online replay, see what we can find here on that 84 car. If there's any interesting, issues that happened there.
My apologies.
Very curious.
Hear a squeakier toy there as my dog. Vega, no. You're going to have to stop, boy. Oh, so the Whiskey Cash replay, there are going to be some drivers who are going to be in need of a drink here tonight after the end of this one. I'll tell you that as we take a look.
Loss of control under yellow. That's interesting. So what happened? I saw that.
Oh.
But did he drive back up into...
Looks like he comes to a stop right there.
Yeah, I didn't see contact with another driver, so very strange situation there. Severe damage penalty. Does he hit someone entering pit road? No? Interesting. Very, very confused about that call. Maybe we didn't see it on our cameras, but I just rolled back to the replay, at least on that most recent caution. I couldn't see anything. Might have happened even earlier than that. So interesting.
Y'all seeing eye sees all, even if we don't.
Yeah, you really can't get anything past Ethan Reisner, who's the race director here. But we're already getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing.
Yeah, so no one's been able to wrestle the lead away. This lead changed back, I believe, back on lap 51. And so Scott Crump has been able to keep the field at bay behind him, but all of his White Lightning partners right behind him, the 50 and the 15, doing a great job to keep the rest of the field at bay as we continue to run. Now working lap 108, slowly but surely working our way to halfway.
Yeah, slowly getting there here. We got guys, though, fighting it out here. Ethan Burrell just lost that spot to Tyler Fody. Now you got Alexander Vanasant on the outside lane. That 97 car has been coming to life here late in this race, looking really strong here. Look out for him. He could be a dark horse for... I do like that. Yeah, it could be a dark horse for this race. Drivers apparently in their little race chat in the game just made a motion for a $5 fine per caution paid to the broadcasters. So I'm not going to deny that, especially because we've just had, I believe, our 10th caution of the night.
Yes, working lap 110. I often say on the broadcast I'm not good at math. Actually, let's take a look and see what happens here. Yeah, that's my
Ooh,
hand.
44
No,
car.
Michael Goodman in front,
Oh.
and look who goes over.
Rasmus.
It's going to be is that the 70 car? Rasmus,
I
my
think that
goodness.
was, yep.
Up
Down.
and literally over.
All right, let's take
After
a look
Michael
at.
Goodman gets around in the 44.
We kind of already saw him just that same snap loose for the 44 car, and at that point, let's take a look. He's, I think, trying to drive it, save it. There goes the, there's that 26 of my hand, the 02 of Thornquist. Oh, man, Rasmus just gets that perfectly wrong angle and flips that car over. You're going to see Scott Haney, I think, is going to be very unlucky in this, or very lucky, but I'm pretty sure it's the original. Yeah, unfortunate there. Dustin
That's right
Durlo
on
gets
board
around.
with, is that Wyatt Knadel right there? He's going to have an amazing onboard view, just like what we saw with Denny Hamlin in the Daytona 500, Harrison Burton flipping. Take a look at this view here.
Yeah, this
car is going to go up and over.
Yeah, let's see if we can find the Wyatt Knadel replay here. Grab on the nose of his car and
his
let's ride
end of the line penalty is going to be our gain here as we take a look and see this action unfold in turn number 2.
Whew! How about that for wreck avoidance there by Wyatt Knadel?
That's one of those, I remember Darrell Waltrip one point, I don't know what broadcast, but that's one of those things where you tap the radio to your crew and just be like, you won't believe what I just saw. Chaos. Caution number 10, working lap 110. I'm not good at math there, Rashad, but even I could divide that. It is not bode well here for this series here. An average of 1 caution every 10 laps.
Yeah, it hasn't been great.
11 laps. I can't do math. I told you I couldn't do math, but 11 laps.
Either way, man,
before I got grilled in the comments.
I will say I appreciate. I've got drivers tweeting us saying, "Oh man, we're feeling for you guys up in the booth because it is a long way to go here." But man, I feel for you guys out on the racetrack too to spend that time, just rolling around under caution. You come here wanting to get some racing laps in, get a chance to really go at it. Don't unfortunately get that opportunity to do so. But man, it's the same story we've been talking about all season, isn't it? Especially on these ovals. I think on the road course at Watkins Glen, you don't get quite as many cautions because they don't naturally come out there. Unless race control is involved, a physical race control is involved. iRacing with its automatic cautions, it's easier to bring out the cautions here on ovals, and it's just been a tricky transition, and we're seeing that here. So we'll see kind of how we continue to evolve, whether the approach changes to the race nights, and how we tackle restarts and starts and situations like that. But as of right now, obviously we'd love to see some more green flag running. I think once guys got spread out, give them 5 laps or so and they actually get single filed out, the racing was pretty good, I thought. I thought we were able to get guys pretty cleanly driving, around one another and racing with each other. It's these 2-wide restarts where guys are trying to hold it on the outside or trying to hold it on the inside, and they just snap loose. That's kind of when all hell breaks loose, unfortunately.
It really does, Fair, and unfortunately, as you had mentioned there, it's kind of hard pressed to find a car that has not had damage kind of outside of the top 10 right now. But cleaning up our 10th caution flag of the day, and going to be going back green next time by. I can't even tell you exactly when these guys were last on pit road here.
Lap 88, but that doesn't really tell us about tire age, does it? Because I don't think we've had more than maybe 10 laps of green flag running on this set of tires for most of these guys. Maybe a little bit more, but it really hasn't been a lot.
It has been a tough night here at Nashville here. A lot of guys singing the blues. Still have, I believe, at least 23 cars on the lead lap here.
We got a few cars. I mean, the cautions help more and more cars come out on the lead lap. So 27 cars on the lead lap, and I think we've got about 33 total cars still running on the racetrack. Maybe 32, actually. I see Daniel Martinez might actually be stationary, and actually so are Robert Hill and Shane Terrian. So we've only got about 30 cars running. So back to green flag racing here, but the field's thinning out slowly, and we'll see who's able to continue on here. Hopefully, we get some runs here that allow us to hit green flag pit stops, as the run goes on.
Car that has come to life, though, underneath this yellow flag is Alexander Van de Sant, who hangs on after a touch between him and the 15 of Chad Frankenfield entering the corner at speed. Van de Sant barely able to avoid getting off the racing surface right there. He'll lose the third position there to the 50 of RC Anderson. Thankfully, he will not lose that entire race car. Now the 40 car dives underneath, taking a look underneath their side-by-side for fourth place. That forces the 97 car on the outside lane. Ethan Burrell trying to follow in tow with the 40 car, but Alexander Van de Sant still holding charge in that outside line. Wow, that was a moment there, Rashad.
Yeah, that really was a moment there. No, there it is! It's all the way around.
Hard
up in the wall.
Impact. Stay under the green flag, and I am going to stop mentioning people that are having good runs here tonight, because that is the second driver now with an issue after we were just talking about how well he was running. Severe damage on the right-hand side of that machine.
Yeah, that car just completely gave up on Alexander Van de Sant. You hate to see that, like you were saying. He was having a great run, had that pretty ballsy save just a lap before, and now all the way down back in 23rd position. Gonna be tough to kind of recover from that. And slow on the racetrack, I think he's gonna have to come down pit road. That car's probably got some pretty severe damage to it.
Yes, he's definitely gonna at least go not one but 2 laps down, and another one bites the dust. Seems to be the same record here, just different bursts as of late. You know, Nashville is the music city of the capital, or of the country right there. So, as I mentioned, there are a lot of drivers that are singing the blues here tonight. The 15 car, Chad Frankenfield, turn 4 versus him. I'd like to see that ratio.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great battle going on here for second position here again. A little bit of a gap there for Scott Crump on these initial restarts, but this battle for second has been raging between these 5 cars for a while now, and it's been some pretty good battling, and I think pretty much all of these drivers have seen that second spot at some point during the night. But right now it's been Frankenfield who's been holding the strongest in that position. And especially with the help of RC Anderson right behind him, that maybe makes it a little bit easier. Those 3 White Lightning Ford Mustangs so strong tonight. And Tyler Fode sticking that Lake Norman Motorsports Chevy Camaro in there, but big blink there for Scott Crump could be something to watch out for later in the race.
That's definitely, and that's a known issue that we've seen with the 90 car there. Just hopefully it doesn't get any worse than what it is. Currently, as we see the 40 car there, he and RC Anderson there trying to discuss third place amongst themselves.
Yeah, as you see here, there's kind of that second pack that we've been talking about all night long, led by Matthew Weeks. Oh, Harrison Talon goes around, spins it.
But
stays. Oh, Harry.
That's going to trigger the yellow. You know, he did everything he could, and he's on the brake right there.
That one's a tough one to call. You could see that car was locking up, and he just kind of couldn't steer it back on. But let's take another look at that. You see the snap.
Nonetheless, it'll be a tally right there, but it won't result in a severe penalty that we've seen other competitors face tonight. Tom Bourne and Wyatt Canadle as well.
There you see the brakes completely locked up. So locking it down, he puts a little bit of throttle on it to maybe point it in the right direction. Starts accelerating.
But the wheels are still cut to the left, right, or excuse me, the right.
Yeah.
And that's where he gets in trouble.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, he tried to save it and then rolled back up into the racetrack. So you could tell, though, he was making an effort, though, to try and lock it down, and I think just wasn't able to. We'll see what Race Control's view on that is.
That'll be different, I believe, than what we saw out of the 16 and what we didn't see out of the 84, but what was called upon on him. Split strategy on pit road there. Ethan Burrell leads a couple of chargers.
Yeah, this is really interesting here because you've got self-spin tally. I don't think we're going to see anything more severe than that. But yeah, you have Crump, Frankenfield, Anderson, Fode, Tooker actually staying out on the racetrack. Ethan Burrell, though, coming down pit road. So teammates splitting strategy there at Pro Edge Racing. So drivers up front who come down. Ethan Burrell, Andrew Rucker, Harrison Talon, who just caused that incident, is on pit road. But surprisingly, most of the guys all the way up front on the racetrack deciding to stay out. So interesting call by Ethan Burrell, trying to change it up.
Stop.
Ooh.
For the 37 car.
Did he speed? Oh.
The poles that are there on his perhaps ambition to get onto pit road and be off sequence for the leaders perhaps could have cost him dearly on this run. I still have not seen that car go, and I would, with a speeding penalty, are you manually held right there, or are you... this is interesting. He has not moved.
Yeah, there he finally gets rolling. Let's take a look at the official timing on that. That's 50 seconds held. That might be, I wonder, 50 seconds right on the dot, basically. That might be a penalty. I'm curious about that. But yeah, so Ethan Burrell, who was heavily involved in that battle for a top 3 position, is now way out of it. He's going to stay on the lead lap, but he's going to be one of those last cars on the lead lap.
And all that track position that he would have gained being the first car on pit road is all for naught now. He's going to have to use up those tires to get through the field. So we'll see what happens here, but an uncharacteristically mistake for that 37 car and Pro Edge Racing team member there, Ethan Burrell, tonight, the pole setter.
Yeah, as the cars lap around here, we are going to take a quick break here, refill our water bottles, make sure we're ready to take you guys into the second half of this event. So we'll be right back just before we head back to green flag racing.
Welcome back to the Decor Depot 400 here. We've just been told the reason why the 37 car, Ethan Burrell, waited so long on pit road. He not only had to make a pit stop for the car, he had to make a pit stop himself. So that is exactly why that 37 car lost a ton of track position. We'll see if it was worth it there. He's going to have his work cut out for him as the White Lightning cars still control this race. Scott Crump on the inside this time. His teammates Chad Frankenfield and R.C. Anderson right behind him, working lap 125 on 300, and we're back on the green flag here at Nashville.
Yeah, that Ethan Burrell, maybe poor planning there for one of the longer races of the season here, but yeah, that's fortunately again for him. He's still on the lead lap and a lot of racing to go, a lot of cautions potentially to go, though hopefully not here tonight. As we do get these guys underway here, Chad Frankenfield defending from Tyler Fody. He's going to slot in line there. So then these top 8 or so drivers all in line. The first side-by-side guys we've got Josh Clark and Chad Thornquist. Clark's car, I'm pretty sure that car's got a new front bumper on it. I don't know if that one had a bumper, maybe 15 laps or so ago. So enough time maybe for those guys to work on fixing it.
Yeah, well, certainly enough time under caution there to allow that repair to happen there. He was involved in that big one, as was at least 14 other cars as well. You see that little bit of front end damage still in place on that 28 car. Don't know if once you get the bumper repaired, if it's ever looking back to normal. We saw. But as what we've seen there in the past, I remember taking us back to another caution field race there last season there with Tyler Froty at Darlington. He at one point had no front end on that car. He was able to get it done. So we'll see if that could perhaps fare well for that 28 car who's still in search of his first win here in the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Things are getting racy up front. All of these competitors here are separated by less than a second between first and I would say 12th place.
Wasn't Nick Massey involved in a wreck earlier in this race? We're really seeing guys coming from all over the place. How about this? The 48 car, your Daytona 500 champion from this season, up into 5th position. And Nick Massey racing towards the front right now on the bottom behind Tyler Froty as Froty looking to take 2nd place from RC Anderson. These guys are getting racy up front and trying to go for this track position right now. But here we go, 2 by 2 by 2 down through the first 6 positions on this field. This is getting pretty exciting up front.
I believe some of this, we've been keeping our focus on the top spots here, Rashad, but some of these guys perhaps use those caution flags to their benefit. Perhaps they decided to put tires on. Don't know exactly when the last time the 48 car was on pit road, but that could be a reason why we're seeing some of these guys be able to navigate through the field. They have better tires than these guys who they haven't had a chance to use them, but even so, the heat cycles on those cars could be stressing out the rubber here versus new Goodyear tires for those guys in the back of the pack working their way through to the front.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. Nick Massey last pitted on lap 104. The rest of these guys around him pitted lap 88. Massive difference there in terms of when they came down pit road. Again, yes, we ran a lot of caution laps there, but that's still going to make a pretty big difference there. And that 48 car right now, a lot of grip in it, a lot of pace in it as well. Ooh. And he's running just as strong as anybody else. But yeah, I mean, it's getting pretty chaotic, and it's hard to stay up front when there's this much going on around you.
Yeah, Tooker had a piece of the wall right there out of turn 4, and Chad Thornquist, man, if there's a car that's going to have an issue, it's going to happen right in front of that 02 car. He's going to back up once again because of that there. Looks like the 19 car is going to feel better than what we saw with the 97 of Alexander Vandestamp, but he's still going to lose a couple of positions there. Jared Rexing underneath him, and now here comes Thornquist to try to take that spot as well. Yeah. 48 car, Nick Massey on the back bumper, RC Anderson. I bring that up there, Rashad, because there was some history between these two drivers at Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago. Oh, Andrew Rucker has to cut to the left to avoid contact with the 40 car. He'll lose not 1, not 2, but at least 3 positions as they enter turn number 1. But looks like no harm, no foul for the 64 car there, except for that track position lost. But now that 48 car on the back bumper of the 40, trying to get around to finish up that thought, though. There was a disagreement between those two drivers there at Watkins Glen as Thornquist gets out of the groove out of turn 4.
Yeah, big snap from that 02 car. Not sure if that was just getting loose there off the corner, if there was maybe a little bit of net code since he was close to, or maybe I don't know if they were 3 wide, but still 02 car, big snap, and he's now back there with Ethan Burrell. Burrell, how about that? Up to 14th position after restarting about 25th, 26th. After his bathroom break. So yeah, there you go. Back kind of in the fight. That 37 car, strong, of course. He was your pole sitter, and trying to work his way back up the order and try and get back to Scott Crump, Chad Frankenfield, and RC Anderson, who continue to lead here despite all the changing of positions that's been going on.
Yeah, that car is just a little bit lighter there, Rashad, if you get my drift. So we'll see that 37 car work its way through the field there. Don't know if that's legal in iRacing Control. We'll get back to you on that story. Up front, though, it still continues to be White Lightning Racing right now. Scott Crump has taken control of this field. Chad Frankenfield and R.C. Anderson. Now he'll fall victim to the snap out of turn 4, and he'll lose 3, make it 4 positions by the time they reach turn number 4, and that'll break up what was a top 3 duo of that team. Now, sets only 2 cars up front with Tyler Forde breaking into a podium run currently.
Yeah, absolutely. This car is just an absolute handful for everybody. We saw Jeff Green had that quick snap, whether it was reactionary or not. RC has had a couple of instances where he's driven the car up the racetrack, just trying to hang on to it. So great that these guys have been able to save it when they happen, but man, oh man, these cars are an absolute handful. Guys are really having to work for every position and really just work to keep their cars on the racetrack every single lap.
Speaking of working to keep their car on the racetrack, there, the 64 car who had that big moment a couple of laps ago looks like he's been able to rebound. And now, once again, you mentioned he has the newest tires inside the top 10 currently, giving some pressure to the back bumper of that 48 car. And I believe there's a window here for these guys before these tires begin to equalize at least a little bit there. We haven't seen the runoff that we had seen from other tracks here, Rashad, there. So I believe these cars are starting to stabilize at least the front 4 versus these guys on newer tires. So the time to get is quickly dwindling for that 64 car and the 48 car to take advantage.
It absolutely is. On that last lap, pretty much every single driver inside the top 8 was running about a 30.7. The only driver not doing that was Tyler Fode, who was at a 30.67. Actually, Chad Frankenfield also on that last lap just ran a 30.69. So really, yeah, everybody's right now running about the same lap times. Very, very close amongst just about everybody on the racetrack here. So yeah, tire advantage I think is nullified a little bit here right now. You kind of mostly have that advantage on the first few laps of the run. And then after that, it becomes very, very insignificant, especially when you take into effect the aero wash and the downsides of being behind other cars. But it looks like we've got something going on here for second place, at least, almost for the lead here. Frankenfield and Fode going side by side for second.
Yeah, well, Frankenfield actually lost touch a little bit with the leader. He had been battling with Scott Crump and got right up to his left elbow there entering turn 3 1 lap ago. Was unable to complete the pass right there, and now has settled back into that second position raider. He definitely showed that 90 car, though. He was there. But that little bit of side-by-side action has allowed the 40, the 64, who's now been able to get around the 48 car, Rucker, up to 4th on the freshest tires, now pressuring the 40 car to get underneath him. Caution.
Ooh.
Number 12 of the night is going to slow this action down just before 8 laps of halfway.
Take a look here. Dallas, my hand showing on the tracker is the one. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Big drive in. That was a...
Yeah, but the 29, once again, Trevor Elam there had an issue. I don't know if iRacing Control will put that on the 26 car, because the 29 had another issue right in front of these guys, and I think that's going to be deemed a racing incident. Let's take a look and see why that 29 car was suddenly so slow entering the corner.
Yeah, let's see if we can find... let's take a look here. I'm actually struggling to see Trevor Elam on timing and scoring. Oh, there he is. Let's take a look here. See what happened to this 29 car, and maybe get an understanding as to what happened with the 26. There you see Dallas Myhand all the way down the bottom. Elam side by side with Ethan Burrell. Elam just... I didn't really notice any real issue
that
for
was
Elam.
weird.
I think Myhand might have just...
severe as it was.
Yeah. Might just be... we'll see. Yeah, we'll see how race control
It could
calls.
also
They'll look...
be a difference of tires there, how you're able to charge the corner.
Yeah, that could be it. Actually, I didn't even look at that. Elam, shoot, every guy, they're all on pit road right now, so hard to tell when they last pitted. But it's seen as a racing incident there, so yeah, it could be a tire situation. I'm surprised that's a racing incident.
That was my original judgment call there from what I saw, but who knows? He could have gone away with one. We'll never know. However, this definitely will flip some strategy there. Guess who decides to stay out? Andrew Rucker, Jared Rexing, and Ethan Burrell. Going to take control of this race there. That's going to force our leaders, at least all the way back to the 7th spot. Chad Frankenfield, the first out of that group on pit road.
So now the script from that last run is completely shifted. So now Rucker, Rexing, Burrell, Weeks, all these guys are on older tires, while Frankenfield, Crump, and Fody are on the fresher tires but don't have the track position. So how aggressive are these guys on the restart? Can they make those positions up before the tire difference kind of neutralizes again? Has Ethan Burrell maybe saved his race here almost and put himself back in contention with the strategy calls that he's put together there? So maybe we do need a post-race inspection there after Ethan Burrell's bathroom break.
Oh, there are certain things I just never expect to talk about on the broadcast, and I think that probably ranks up number one there. So hopefully it'll be in good fun.
I mean, I was going to say,
back in.
You give us a 400-mile race to talk about, and we're going to find just about every conversation topic you can if it has to do with NASCAR racing.
That's very, very, very true there, Rashad. Like the way you think. So, under caution for, I don't even know. I'm guessing at this point, 13, 14. Dave, what's the number say?
Well, yeah, we'll see what Dave comes up with here. It's, I think we're 14, I want to say. Maybe not.
13. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Commentators have lost count. That's not a good sign there, folks. But again,
12.
It's caution
12. 300.
Oh, darn. Well, don't worry.
Dave's predicting the future there of how many he expects to see. I don't know if it's Man, I will hopefully not getting anywhere close there to 300. Hopefully we're not getting anywhere close to 30. Hopefully we can see some more green flag runs here.
Racing has definitely been dynamic, though, and as you had mentioned there beforehand, the whole script has been flipped. What these guys that were the comers are now going to have to be on defense here. Those guys that had been up front now find themselves in traffic. So keep an eye on this restart. This might be the most anticipated restart here as of lately.
Yeah, this is the first time in pretty much all race except for that very first run that the 90, the 15, and the 50 aren't leading the way back to green. I mean, Andrew Rucker, this is the first time he's leading a restart as well. So a little bit of a different situation here and something we haven't quite seen yet. So, Aggressive Eagle Motorsports, they've got their car up front here. We'll see what Andrew Rucker can do. Lap 121 last pitted here, so not that old tires again when you consider kind of how cautions have fallen. So, yeah, I mean, this could get really interesting. Track position or tires. This could be a kind of foreshadowing for what may happen later in this race.
Andrew Rucker leading for the first time today. Jared Rexing, that's the best spot he has been all race long, and Ethan Burrell, the pole setter there, trying to find his way back to the point. His teammate to his right elbow as well, Matthew Weeks. In that 11 car, as we are back underway, 3 laps shy of halfway, what would be an official race here tonight.
Yeah, but no rain to save us, unfortunately. But Ethan Burrell does slide up into second position, still not fully clear of that 10 car, but I think he's going to be clear heading out of turn number 4, and he is before they even get to 4.
Yes, Ethan Burrell up there. You see the 25 car, Jacob Adams to the outside of Scott Crump, who has been the fastest Ford Mustang here today. Most of the field is going to go single file there. You see Dallas Myhan just exiting pit road right there. Really up high is that 64 car as the 40, Tyler Fody had a moment cutting to the right to save that race car. He'll lose a spot to Scott Crump underneath him here. And I saw Andrew Rucker really up high on the exit of turn 2 right there. That allowed Ethan Burrell to really
we got a car.
And he is going to go sliding off
foul
the racing
bands.
surface. Does he keep it out of harm's way?
Yeah, he rolls all the way to pit road. So Alec Balvan's good save there, rolling it onto pit road. But yeah, I mean, same issue we've been seeing all night for everybody. Snappy loose off of the corner. Meanwhile, back up front, it's Rucker, Burrell, Rexing, Frankenfield. We mentioned he's on those fresher tires. He just pitted on this most recent caution.
Caution! Oh! Car is around.
He goes around.
Number 2.
Jeff Green
Or is
goes
he
around, but
at turn
Frankenfield.
4?
Yeah, Frankenfield was slow on the inside of the racetrack too, so I wonder what happened there. Jeff Green, though, the one being shown as the one that brought the caution around, and there it is. That's the incident. Just loose, spun it around mid-corner. Actually lucky to not make any contact with any walls there on the racetrack. But what happened to Chad Frankenfield during that same situation? Or I think caution just came out and he just dove to the bottom of the racetrack, maybe.
Hopefully so. He looks like he's going to retake some of that position. We'll take a look and see what happens here.
Yeah, let's take a look
Oh
here.
my, caution number 13 going to be unlucky for the 38 car and perhaps the 15.
Oh, we missed
the
that
15,
there.
yeah, it just snapped loose on him in turn 2. Or turn 4 again, sorry.
Yeah, camera didn't quite switch in time for that one, unfortunately. Let's see if we can grab another one of them. See if somebody caught this snap from the 15 there just as the caution comes out. Just that tiny snap is enough to really send him down into the apron and lose a ton of track position. So actually, Frankenfield probably saved quite a bit by that caution coming out because he doesn't lose as many spots as he would have if we stayed green.
Right at that moment there, you're absolutely right. When the field is frozen, he was sideways in that position there. Now, it'll be, I guess he's been deemed that he'll be able to keep that position right there. Because I do know with NASCAR, you do have to maintain race speed, but that'll be kind of hard to deem as everybody's kind of slowing down right there. He did keep going, so he was saved.
Well, while the drivers might not love the cautions, I'll tell you people who do, and that's our sponsors here at the Elite Racing Network, because this gives us a chance to talk about them and give them some shout-outs. So we'll talk about the series sponsor, JoinAPS.com. APS is the company. They offer a complete solution for all types of businesses that need to process credit card-related transactions. Their industry-specific solutions provide the best options for your business model. They have experienced client service representatives who understand what your processing needs are. JoinAPS has been part of the Elite Racing League since we joined iRacing all the way back in, I want to say 2018, was it? Maybe 2019? I think it was 18, actually. All the way back then, they've been an incredible partner and have been with this Cup Series since the beginning. So obviously a massive thanks to them. Yeah, I mean, what a night it's been here in the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. It's been the Decor Depot 400 at Nashville Superspeedway. Started out with a quick caution right on the start, then we had a bit of a long run, and then since then it's been fairly short runs in between, 13 cautions total as we've just crossed the halfway point in the race. Could still be a very long night for these drivers ahead.
So, lap 152, just past halfway here tonight. The Whiskey Cast replay has definitely they've gotten their money's worth here tonight. They were soft there. I don't know what our I know Michigan was pretty heavy on the number of yellow flags that we had. I think we might exceed that one here tonight. That's not a stat that we want to perhaps say out loud here, but it's just been a tough night here, and it's still now just under half of this race to go here, 13. If we go by that trend, it would be 26 yellow flags before the end of this race. Hopefully that is, as my man Larry Mack likes to say, the pattern is the trend. Hopefully that does not come to fruition here tonight.
Yeah, hopefully not. Lap 185. Yeah, no scheduled cautions. We'll see where we're kind of sitting as that comes around there. And then we'll have a 115-lap run to the end of this race, where we'll crown our winner here, Nashville Superspeedway, one of our crown jewels of this 2022 season. It's going to feel probably pretty special for a driver to win this one after everything I think these guys are going through tonight. It's been a tough one so far, having to deal with a lot inside the race car, and of course situations outside of their controls if they're cautions that they're not necessarily involved in.
So lights are off on the pace car there. Andrew Rucker, Ethan Burrell on the outside lane there. Scott Crump, who has the freshest tires there, right behind him, but in the fourth position. Then Jared Rexing in that 10, looking to try and place spoiler amongst the top three. Car that I will be keeping an eye on, though, out of turn 4 is that 15 car. It is not the first time we have seen him snap loose at all, and I fear it might not be the last.
Yeah,
Green flag, so back out.
I think you're on the right page there. But yeah, green flag. Andrew Rucker leads the way ahead of Burrell, Rexing, side by side with Scott Crump. Crump with those fresh tires. So yeah, Fody has that too. So does Frankenfield. So we'll see if those guys are able to kind of slice their way through the field and make a difference here, or make at least positions up from where they restarted here.
Ethan Burrell taking a look to the outside there. Looks like Scott Crump still having to contend. Didn't get the start he wanted on the outside of the 10 car. He's hanging tough in that outside lane, but I believe he's been making up most of his time and speed on the bottom of the racetrack. Andrew Rucker, though, entering turn 1, really leaving a lot open for Ethan Burrell, but he gets that high exit speed there, exiting turn 2, and he's been able to gap that 37 car, but man, Ethan Burrell does a great job there, just pulling right up to his back bumper on the straightaways and even on the front stretch. Look at this gaggle of cars, though, for third place on back. Scott Crump on the outside with Tyler Fody and R.C. Anderson. He'll be able to clear Jared Rexing on the bottom of the racetrack there, but still 3 wide, and in the middle is Chad Frankenfield trying to get around that 10 car.
Yeah, Frankenfield and R.C. Anderson both on fresher tires, Rexing on those slightly older tires, so he's going to be the one struggling there, and he does lose both of those positions to them. Meanwhile, for third position, Crump and Fody going at it, and Burrell does get by Andrew Rucker, so Ethan Burrell back to the point, but remember, he's on 20 technically lap older tires, maybe more realistically about 8 to 10 lap older tires under green flag conditions. So there is going to be a slight pace advantage right now, but if he can stay ahead, especially and have Rucker as a bit of a buffer to the likes of the 90, the 40, and the 15, this could neutralize things and give Ethan Burrell back the track position he lost on that caution earlier in the race.
Yeah, you mentioned he was the pole sitter here tonight, but has not had the lead since giving it up underneath the second yellow flag of the night. It's taken him well over 100 laps to return back to the point there. It'll be interesting to see what this 90 car can do now back behind that 37 car. Taking a look at this battle there inside the top 10. Third quest there, right in front of Trevor Elam in that 10 car, or excuse me, in that 10th position.
Meanwhile, Frankenfield falling back down the order. Looks like he might have gotten loose off of turn number 2, because on by goes R.C. Anderson, Jared Rexing, Nick Massey also to the top side, but Frankenfield, good run through 3 and 4. That's going to propel him back forward, especially with some help here from the 95 car.
R.C. Anderson actually just smacked the wall on the exit of turn 4 about 2 laps to go. I noticed on that side of the screen there, doesn't look like to be heavily damaged there, but has now put a decent gap for 6th place on back. And it's a side-by-side battle between the 40 car of Tyler Fody and Scott Crump. Trying to get around him. Back on the inside there is Tyler Fody, who wants that third position in the worst way. He's given that 90 car fits as he enters turn 1.
Oh man, this is great racing here, and this is what we were talking about here. When guys get a chance to really stretch out and battle each other, Nashville's giving us some fantastic battles, and Fody and Crump side by side all lap long. Finally, Crump clears the 40 car. Fody's going to have to regather and kind of find another way past, past that Scott Crump number 90 machine. Meanwhile, side by side for teammates again, 50 and 15. Those guys have been next to each other or in front of each other all night long.
I'm beginning to see a little bit of a different line here. Everybody was really fighting for the inside racetrack in turns 1 and 2 right there, but those passes that we've been able to document have come on the outside. I believe Ethan Burrell was able to get past the 64 car on the outside, and we just saw the 90 car actually clear the 40 car on the outside. So I believe these guys are venturing a little bit higher underneath and getting that run that allows them to clear these guys from the bottom lane.
Absolutely looks like they are, as there you see Josh Adams comes down in front of Chad Thornquist. R.C. Anderson falling back just a little bit. Again, struggling, I think, with grip in that 50 car, but he's got the tires. He can kind of find his way and power his way back past these guys. Thornquist, though, diving it to the inside, stays inside the 50 car, forcing him on that less preferred line, I think. They're trialing different things, but I think that bottom still seems to be just superior in terms of overall lap time, as there you see RC really losing time off of 4.
He had been struggling with that race car, as I mentioned there a couple laps ago. He had hit the wall, and now just on the back half of the top 10 there, falling into the clutches of Trevor Elam in that 29 car. who at time has shown some brilliant pace in that car, but other times it's also seemed like he's come to a complete stop. But right now, all four wheels traveling in the right direction here as we take a look from the drone view here. I love this view, being able to follow the action and pinpoint exactly what line these drivers are doing. You see the 95 car actually get to the back bumper, give him a little bit of a bump draft as they enter the corner.
Yeah, this racing's getting pretty crazy here. Guys trying different things out. Meanwhile, back up front, Andrew Rucker passed Ethan Burrell and has really gapped this 37 car. So Burrell, while he might have had the initial launch pace, he really hasn't been able to keep up with Rucker, who's found something in that 64 car. Remember, these top two drivers on older tires, so now it's Burrell's job to hold off that 90 car of Scott Crump.
Yep, and right now, the 90 car looks like he's reeling in that 37 car. We'll see how much work it will be to get around that 37 car. These guys have been the class of the field. They started on the front row. But Andrew Rucker, I'm impressed by that 64 car there. I thought by the time the 37 car got in front of him there, Rashad, I thought he'd be able to, play buffer for that 90 car and allow Ethan to kind of get away here. But I did not expect that 64 car to retake the lead and actually drive away from the 37 car. So that'll be interesting to see what the 37 car does as he's now under pressure from the 90th Scott Crump. Where will the 90 car make a look and make his move? He'll take a look to the inside this time by, actually. The 37 car a little bit higher entering turn 3.
Yeah, Burrell just chopped slightly half down on that lane that Scott Crump was trying to use, taking the air off the splitter of that 90 car and forcing him to be a little bit tight there through the corner, but that's not going to stop Crump this time by into turns 1 and 2. Crump side by side with Ethan Burrell. Remember, 90 car has those fresher tires on that last lap. Crump was about a tenth and a half faster than Ethan Burrell, so sufficient speed differential right now between these guys where Crump can still take advantage. He's got the nose ahead in 3 and 4, and I think he's going to clear coming off of turn number 4.
Trying to get there and avoid that side draft by the 37 car in his right rear quarter panel. He'll do so. Now the 37 car has to make a decision. He'll do so by blocking the 40 car and use that to not allow Tyler Fody to advance. Here comes the 15 to Chad Frankenfield as well, but Scott Crump has set his sights on the 64 car of Andrew Rucker. He has one less car to deal with in his rear mirror.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but for Rucker, you're a little bit nervous because Ethan Burrell, while he was falling back from you, now Scott Crump, fresher tires, and he's closing that gap at a rapid pace on Andrew Rucker here. That last lap, 0.3 of a second faster than our leader, Andrew Rucker. Scott Crump is flying right now and moving forward to try and make that pass on that aggressive Eagle 64.
So right now, the top 6 cars there trying to separate themselves, make it 7 throughout the rest of the field, all the way back to Thornquist there. But we are keeping an eye on the guy that's been able to make the most out of those new tires, and that would be the 90 car there. But that gap has actually kind of stabilized there at about 0.4 of a second there between first and second place.
Yeah, meanwhile, we've got this whole battle going on as this snake maybe, yeah, like you said, doesn't really close up that gap too much. That last time around, very similar lap times, only about 0.1 of a second increase for Scott Crump in terms of closing up that gap. But this battle for second now is pretty crazy here, or excuse me, battle for third really, because it's Ethan Burrell kind of holding up these guys on much fresher tires. Burrell doing some great defensive driving here, preventing these guys from getting by, but it feels like it's only a matter of time before whether a caution comes out or these guys slide on by with those fresher boots.
Yeah, you saw the 40 car actually make a dramatic cut to the outside lane, trying to look, and don't know exactly what he was hoping to achieve right there, but all I know is that he does not want to be behind that 37 car right there. But Ethan Burrell doing the best he can as we're getting what I would hopefully consider our third real green flag run here in the books.
Yeah, definitely. No, this has been a good run so far. Guys have been getting comfortable, I think, behind the wheels of their cars, and this is what we're seeing. Allow guys to get single filed out, and the racing is pretty great. You see a lap car just going up the racetrack, but you see guys able to work different lines, able to try different ways to get past. This is, I think, the type of NASCAR racing that people really enjoy, and I think it's the reason why the next gen car has gotten such a positive reception in real life. The biggest thing for us here in the Elite Racing Leagues, and even in real life too, we saw it at Auto Club especially, is just getting a run going. It's sometimes just a little bit tricky, especially with the way these cars launch off of restarts.
Yeah, exactly. Also, the parity that we've seen this season is just second to none. I cannot imagine, as I mentioned there, of all the 4 through 4 races, of the different types of skill sets of drivers that we've seen come up and absolutely dominate here. Here in our league, we're seeing the usual suspects, but it's nice to talk about each and every one of these guys having their chance and shot up front. Andrew Rucker and Scott Crump, these are 2 guys that have not had great seasons so far as of late. Right now, we're talking about the battle of the win between them. So Tyler Forley, also one of those drivers, he's still searching for his first win of the season. We're only 4 races in here, but these guys doing a great job trying to put some good runs here together as we really get into the bulk of the regular season.
Yeah, we're looking at guys right now who've had great pace over the course of the season so far, but just haven't put it all together right now. And right now they're putting together what they need. As Scott Crump, maybe is he going to look on Andrew Rucker? Not quite. He peeked to the inside, maybe seeing if he could coax Andrew Rucker into making a defensive move to the inside, ruin his line for 3 and 4. But Rucker not going to be baited by that, at least not yet here. But Crump, that 90 car just looks so much more planted, so much more comfortable coming off the corners. And here he goes into turn number 1.
I believe Andrew Rucker there trying to do the crossover, but I believe that 90 car is going to solidify his position back up at the point. He gets to the outside, though, and actually, no. Not going to be able to clear him. Now he does, barely on the exit of the backstretch there, but it took a grand total of about 20 laps for that 90 car to reach, once again, back to the point, and he has clean air, the fastest car on the racetrack.
Absolutely, yeah. So what we're seeing here is that tire advantage in a short run situation, it's not going to be enough, I don't think. The tire advantage is small enough where you're going to have to either be really, really aggressive or you're gonna have to hope that the seas kind of part for you. So, if we come to a green-white checker situation, which might not be out of the question here, look at guys maybe making that call to stay out, more guys making that call to stay out here. This is all setting yourself up for whatever that final run is to the checkered flag.
But as quickly as we talked about that 90 car getting back to the point, now he's battling for 3rd place. That's because Andrew Rucker has been able to get around the 90 car, and now the 40 car trying to take advantage of that as well. Andrew Rucker says if you're going to want to take the lead away, you're going to have to go through him twice.
Absolutely,
You've been able to do it once.
Yeah, incredible run there by Rucker, and potentially even compounded by a little bit of a mistake from the 90 Crump car, but Crump already back there, and there's the pace differential right now between these tires, and impressive that it's still kind of around, but it could also just be the inherent pace differential between the Crump car and the Rucker car. But either way, man, the racing has been fantastic, and these guys with the newer tires have had to really work for the positions, despite that kind of pace advantage that we'd expect them to have.
So the 90 car actually take a bite out of his line of the 64 car, kind of swing him wide. But Andrew Rucker is still going to hold his own. I am amazed at the pace that we've seen out of Rucker here. I don't know if anybody really had him circled. He did start inside the top 10 here tonight. But this is kind of a quiet surprise made by this team.
Yeah, it's been an impressive run there. We didn't see a ton from Rucker earlier in the night. He was kind of a top 10 car, but right now leading the way and looking strong while doing so. But he's looking like he's about to become overwhelmed here because the 90s just got support from his teammate Chad Frankenfield on the bottom lane, and now 2 cars with fresh tires. That's going to be a little bit tougher now for the 64 to retaliate against.
That's exactly what that 90 car wanted to see in his rearview mirror. A teammate there come to his aid, and right now he's been able to be pushed by that 15 car there, but Andrew Rucker still not going to give up. He's one of the only cars I've really seen make that outside line work. Question is, will it work though with multiple cars behind him?
Yeah, that's the question. It could be easy to have a good racing line when there's nobody in front of you and you have totally clean air. So tough to fully gauge there in terms of what his car is going to handle like until Crump is clearly in front of him. But right now you can see Crump maybe trying to just pull along Chad Frankenfield to help him against the side draft that he's getting from Rucker right now. But that's now bringing Nick Massey into the fold there for Sky Motorsports.
Yeah, take a look at this. Through the first through, I believe, 7th place are only separated by less than about a second.
I think it's even better than that. It's by less than half a second. Yeah, the top drivers are a little bit more than half a second right there, but still, I mean, ridiculous racing here. You see there, Thornquist, the last car in this lead pack here, just kind of hanging on, you know, with these leaders. But incredible racing here. Two different strategies. Ethan Burrell still in the mix there, but you can see once you lose that clean air, how quickly that car kind of maybe starts to fade away from you. But good job for him to be hanging on though still in this lead group.
In the 64 car, as we had mentioned there, he's still able to defend all that advance made by the 15 car. But this time he has his work cut out for him as the 15 really wide into turn number 2 there. We'll see what the 40 car has to deal with that. Looks like he'll be able to do, but now it seems like everybody's actually migrated to the top of the racetrack.
Yeah, they're kind of moving up the racetrack. They'll back down a little bit. So it's that bottom lane versus kind of that second lane. Nobody going all the way up against the wall here. Probably just not that comfortable, I think, to run around this racetrack, or not that advantageous. But yeah, here you go. How about this? Fody to the inside of Rucker. They get very close mid-corner, but they stay side by side coming off of it. Fody should get to the quarter panel and be able to side draft off that 64 car. Doesn't get too close there, but is setting himself up, though, I think, for the move here in 3 and 4.
The side-by-side battle for second is going to be just that, because Scott Crump has now been able to clear the 64 car, and this will be for stage 2 win. He won stage number 1 under the green flag, or under the yellow flag. This time he'll win stage 2 under the green flag. If I could talk, I'm sorry.
No worries there.
I'm going back to back right there as we stay continuously under the green flag right there, and that 90 car has been the car to beat all night long.
Yeah, it really has. That Scott Crump car has looked so impressive, and this is probably the biggest lead he's had all night long as well, almost out to about a second over Andrew Rucker, who, if you're the 90 car, you're loving this, this battle that he's having with Rucker right now, or that the rest of the field is having with Rucker right now, because he's really just kind of the bottleneck on all those guys who are on the same tire strategy as you. So if we do see green flag pit stops tonight, this is huge for Scott Crump, because it gives him such a big buffer to work with, a big kind of space to play with in terms of protecting from the undercut or the overcut.
I don't know if I would necessarily, though, call him the bottleneck there, though, because he's been able to defend every advance whoa, big snap out of the 40 car there. He gathered it up, and I don't know how he did so there, but that was a big moment by Tyler Fody there.
Absolutely, yeah, and bottleneck, not necessarily saying Andrew Rucker is significantly slower there, but I think it's not giving the opportunity for the guys on those fresher tires to try and chase down Scott Crump. Rucker is limited, I think, in his total pace that he can get out of his car right now. These guys behind might have more pace to give, but that's on them to get by the 64 car. He's doing an incredible job defensively driving here with that 64, placing that car exactly where it needs to be, not allowing these guys by. And there you see Massey looking all over the racetrack, but Rucker just not giving up an inch.
And as I mentioned earlier today, though, I saw Nick Massey. I was wondering where he was here, because he had been flirting with the 30th position or so, just had not had the pace in that race car. Was involved in one of our cautions. Can't remember exactly which one it was. I believe it was with Robert Hill, the 05 going around there for his second time tonight. But that 48 car was spinning on the backstretch. He's now all the way up to 3rd place and trying to take second away from the 64 car. It's the latest to do so.
Absolutely, yeah. Nick Massey, Daytona 500 winner, Final Four driver last season in the Cup Series. Looking to back up that Daytona 500 win here with a good run at Nashville. Hasn't had incredible luck since Daytona, though. So really trying to get himself back in good alignment with the points situation, since that Daytona win doesn't lock you into the chase anymore. Right now putting on an absolute show, running in 3rd position, but really struggling to find that way.
RC Anderson goes for a spin on the front stretch.
RC slow on the top lane, no caution flag.
He got tipped. Don't know if that was a product of a lap car. It was.
Oh, it was.
He gets into the outside wall and somehow does not trigger a yellow flag, but just trying to clear that lap car to his outside. And that's hard to fault there, because it looked like the 50 car just ran into him.
That was kind of a weird situation there. But RC back on the racetrack, running in 12th position. We'll see what happens. I don't know which driver that was even that he made contact with up on the top lane. But this battle for second heating up even more because Massey on the outside does finally get around Andrew Rucker. We'll see if he can hold on to that. Chad Frankenfield trying to get by Rucker as well now. But again, that 64 car is not going to give it up easily.
No, but he's been actually forced to go to the bottom of the racetrack right there. I saw the 48 car able to complete the pass using the 64 car's signature mark to his advantage right there. And now I believe others are beginning to follow suit. And because that 64 car is stuck on the bottom of the racetrack, I believe his work got a lot tougher in trying to minimize the amount of positions he's going to lose right now. You see the 15 car actually get by, try to get there.
Ooh. Looks like he almost checked up. Yeah, 15 car. I think if Frankenfield checked up a little bit mid-corner there and caused a bit of a bottleneck there as well. So very, very interesting.
So as we round working lap 195 next time by here, the action beginning to settle down just a little bit. We'll leave you with some sights and pictures here, mainly because I got to go get water. But we'll be 100 laps here, so we'll crank it up. We'll crank it open. I don't know how Fox does it for them right now, but we'll be back here in just a couple of laps. Welcome back to the Dendico Depot 400. You're taking a look at green flag pit stops being made under that crank it up section. We saw Andrew Rucker peel down pit road, and now we see the 37 car, Ethan Burrell. Some of these drivers who are late on that strategy call there. Last time we had that flip of the script there, if you will, Rashov there. Now these guys are taking tires. The question is, how does the rest of the field react to it? We see the 15 of Chad Frankenfield. He's going to follow suit.
Yeah, Frankenfield's an interesting call for me because he was one of those guys who pitted later. Burrell and Rucker make sense because those might have been out of necessity just because they hadn't pitted since lap 121 and maybe fuel was running low on those cars. But for Frankenfield, he pitted on lap 143 with the rest of this group. So really interesting call by the 15 crew there, undercutting the rest of the guys on the same pit strategy as him, on the same fuel strategy as him. So we'll see how that plays out for him as well. But puts him now in the same boat as Rucker and Burrell.
Scott Crump's still going to stay out. Nick Massey back in the second position. The big thing for these guys is that they do not want a yellow flag to come out. They would be able to get the wave around there, but they would lose all their track position there. As we see the 15 blend in right behind the 64 car, who now has newer tires than his competitors up front leading.
Absolutely, and we're within 100 laps to go. Here in this Decor Depot 400 Nashville Superspeedway. It's Scott Crump, Nick Massey, and Josh Adams, your top three drivers now as pit stops have begun. Expect, though, maybe 15 to 20 laps more for these guys to run up front. So could be a little bit of a while before we see more green flag pit stops, but we saw them kick off, and that could be the start of a strategy working towards getting to the checkered flag.
Still outside of the fuel window there, I was able to look in it, and I think we expect that to be around the 65 to 70 go mark there. So even with 15 laps, that's going to be on the 80. I still think that's too much. I believe everybody still has to make at least one more pit stop here tonight. The money stop not yet had, but yeah, the economy of the top three right now. Scott Crump, we have seen lead. He's winner of stage 1, stage 2. But Nick Massey and Joshua Adams, these two drivers, having a pretty good night here, despite being involved in a couple of earlier issues there tonight, especially Nick Massey.
Yeah, absolutely. Massey's had a great race. Adams has had an up and down race. He's had a quiet race, honestly. Josh Adams has been kind of there or thereabouts all race long, but very much on kind of that same strand of Rucker, just kind of found pace at the right point in the race and has found his way up inside the top three. On your screen, you're watching that battle between Fody and Thornquist for the fourth position. And then you've got Elam and David Tooker fighting it out just behind them. Actually, that's Elam. David Tooker's quite some ways behind. There's that 19 car. Kind of running in his own land there. Matthew Weeks behind him. So closest battle up front on the racetrack right now, Thornquist and Fody, but maybe even Crump and Massey here starting to get pretty close together on the racetrack too.
Yeah, that 48 car has barreling down. That's not something we've said as of late here, but Nick Massey trying to make sure he stays in the topic of conversation for perhaps race winner later on in this race, this stage here. The question on everyone's mind, though, when will these guys have to pit? You had mentioned there about 15 laps to go, and I think I see that 48 car deciding to peel off now. No, sorry, it was just, that was an expertly timed cut if I've ever seen one.
How many times have we
been
been
slowing
tricked by
down
that?
there. He was not, so my bad. Talk about fake news there, my mistake. But nonetheless, there we do expect these guys to have to make a pit stop there, and if I'm that 48 car, I might try to jump in front of that 90 car, depending on when he decides to pit there by a lap or so.
Yeah, that's the big decision is you want to pit before the 90 car, but you also want to make sure that you're in your window. So whatever your race strategy is, you want to make sure you're within that you can still make it to the end, and likely it's make it to the end on one more stop. So that's probably what these guys are looking at. If we go off of that first caution that came out, I think guys made it about 45 laps before they came down pit road, but that was also caution determined. So maybe setting yourself up to have the freshest tires at the end. Maybe, again, expect laps, maybe 215, 220 could potentially be when we see most of these leaders come down.
Well, 90 to go here, Rasav. I'll do what they do at Fox, and that's the credit ones to watch. We don't have that sponsored here. Maybe we should get that. They're sponsored. But who are you? We'll give you 2 picks instead of 1. Who are the 2 drivers you think have the best shot at going to victory lane here late in this one?
Well, because you gave me the first choice, I'm going to take the obvious one, and that's going to be the guy on screen right now. That's the 90 car Scott Crump.
Oh, that is just low-hanging fruit.
I mean, it feels like the obvious answer. He's led the most laps tonight. He's won both stages. Just been dominant, really, the way this 90 car has raced. We've seen, though, in situations in the past where races have kind of fallen away from him right at the end, just out of situations outside of his control. So who knows? I would love to see Crump be able to put it all together and get that result that I think he's deserved for a few races now. But we'll kind of take a look here as the race progresses. But Crump, definitely guy to watch out for. The other one, maybe not for the win, but the one that I've been impressed with, Chad Thornquist in the 0-2, talked to him before the race, and he was saying he really wasn't feeling it, wasn't loving this car and track combination, said maybe a top 10 was doable. Right now, running inside the top 5, was racing it out with Tyler Fode a little bit earlier. Right now, racing with Trevor Elam. Just getting a good result, and remember, he's one of those guys tied in second in the points, and that's the whole thing, is maximizing points days when you don't have the car that's necessarily there to win. So right now, that's the driver that I've been impressed with as over the course of the race, but Crump definitely my pick right now, at least to win this one.
All right, well, I'm going to go on the opposite end there of the spectrum, and we're going to go back to some of those drivers that have already pitted here. I like what I saw out of Andrew Rucker. I would like to see that 64 car there get up, and with the pace difference, it might be enough. Once we saw that 90 car get there, it was not easy for Scott Crump. He's going to be kind of set on that same cycle once he makes his green flag pit stop again. He's been passed by the 15 at Chad Frankenfield here, but I think that 64 car is going to be someone to contend with here, so I'd keep an eye. The Aggressive Eagle Esports racing team seems to have it dialed in here tonight, and the other guy will keep him up in frame is Chad Frankenfield. Could he be able to work his magic and try to get something done on a season that's just been one to forget for that 15 car? He's been involved in an issue practically every race that we've had this season, I believe. So it's nice to see him try to finish one out there cleanly, and tonight could be his night. Could it end in victory lane? We will find out.
Absolutely,
Those
yeah.
are
That's
your credit ones to watch.
perfect. Credit one, if you're watching, call me.
Yeah.
We'll work something out here. I'll get you in touch with the right guys. Back up front, it is still Crump and Massey getting by there. The lap car of the 87, Richard Hines. Again, just waiting for that pit stop to come. So I mentioned lap 215 was when I was thinking they might come down. They've just passed that, but I think we're in the window right now for this to kind of happen.
Now, my other thing is, and do I dare say this, if this does go green, these guys are going to have to make a decision on their last pit stop. Have we seen enough tire wear where we would see these guys have to go and complete a 4-tire stop? Do we see a 2-tire stop, or perhaps fuel only for these guys on the later half of their strategy? So that'll be interesting to see. I believe the 37, the 15, the 64, they've made their bed, and so they're going to have to at least put on some tires there. Might as well, with the amount of time they're going to have to be on pit road. For fuel, these guys, as we take a look and see the 95 and the 40 car on pit road, these guys that are making some later pit stops here, they won't need to be on pit road as long for their last stop. So that opens up the availability for them to take something different, perhaps fuel only, or just right side tires on that last pit stop.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think you've still got to take 4 tires. There's less wear, but I think that the handling might go away from the car, but the pace might not. So that'll be interesting to see. The 40 car, wow, how about that? Tyler Fode actually beats Josh Adams off of pit road. An incredible stop by Tyler Fode there. Almost, what is that, 0.7 of a second faster than Josh Adams, and that slots him ahead on the track and gains track position there. You don't see that often in iRacing.
And that might be a little bit of the experience playing into the hand of the 40 car. Just a little bit better getting in and off of pit road there and out of the box there than that 95. But, woo, that was a fast one. Question is, where are they now in relationship to the guys that have already pitted?
So, so Andrew Rucker, 6.5 seconds up the road. So that's the one that you're really watching. And he obviously right now, right alongside with Chad Frankenfield. Ethan Burrell just a little bit ahead of Fode as well, about 4 seconds there. Burrell kind of in a little bit of no man's land and maybe suffering because of it. But man, this is about to get really interesting, I think, how this plays out here with all these different strategies. Crump, our leader, all night long on pit road there, actually just coming off of pit road, just finishing up his stop. So that leaves Nick Massey, the only guy out left on the racetrack. At least on that lap 143 strategy, there's a couple of guys who also pitted on lap 150. They'd love to see this race turn around and go for them, but here comes Massey now coming on to pit road.
Well, like I said, I believe these guys are just shy of making it on their fuel window here. I think I want to say 65 to 70 laps. They have 80 to go, so there'll be 10 laps to go. But the other guys much more. But I believe if it only had 10 laps to go, I would suffer the handling issues there, Rashad. I don't believe I would put any tires on if I just needed 10 laps to make it.
If it is 10 laps to make it, then yeah, I think you're onto something there, especially if it's just a splash of fuel. We'll see how this splits out because we've definitely got at least one more pit stop to go in this race. I think so, at least. I mean, lap 220, 80 laps? Yeah, for sure.
Definitely there. At least in the real world. They are modeled after what we've seen. Even, I know the next-gen car, we didn't have the next-gen car from the race analysis I saw from Nashville last time, but I can't imagine it being that starkly different. So
yeah,
that one at 65 to 70 with the pit window. So
yeah, so definitely going to be a short run to the end here. So this will be interesting to see how this plays out. So two different strategies. I think we have guys kind of splitting it up evenly, but there you see Massey drops that position to Tyler Fode. And Tyler Fode actually also lost the position to Scott Crump, or at least didn't gain any positions on Scott Crump. So that's kind of your top three group right there. And then you've got that second group who pitted even earlier than them. So you have the guys who pitted lap 200 approximately. That's Frankenfield, Rucker, and Burrell. And then you have the guys who pitted around lap 220, 215. That's Crump and Fode. Evans and Hossack in between them are both on pit road right now. Harrison Talon on pit road as well. So that elevates all these guys. Chad Frankenfield now up into fourth position.
And keep in mind, some of these guys that we see, so it looks like Wyatt Canadal is going to be on pit road, so all the top three are now in. But some of these guys that have pitted later than them, they have less fuel that they'll be needing on their final stop. So this really does open up the window for a spoiler here, Rashad. I just don't want to be taken advantage in case somebody does decide to roll the dice here and make it on fuel here. I still think 8 laps out of the window is a tall order, and these guys are way outside of the running order as well, but that's just something to keep an eye on there if somebody decides to try and flip one on us. They won't get anything past us.
Oh!
Crash!
Josh Adams!
And Tad Thornquist out of turn 2. Back across the track, and he's going to collect R.C.
Oh!
Henderson. A hard hit on the backstretch.
Wow, all of those guys were top 6, top 7 drivers in the night. Wow, what happened there? So it's the 95 car.
95.
Oh.
Tad Thornquist sandwiched into the outside wall, and then this is the part where you have to put the brake on.
Yeah, that one's
clobbered by R.C. Henderson, who had nowhere to go as well as the 29 of Trevor Elong. Yeah,
that's, I think, is less of a rolling. Well, let's grab that again on Josh Adams, but I think that's less of a rolling situation, more of just bad place, bad time, where when R.C. Henderson really didn't have anywhere to go. Let's see. Watch the wheels on that 95 car. Loses it there, hits the 90 or the 02, and just kind of, yeah, it doesn't. He rolls a little bit, but I don't think that's a situation where
he was already in that direction. Exactly.
Yeah.
He was already going to be going that direction anyway. So
exactly.
That's just a bad
situation.
Bad situation for the 95, the 50, and everybody really.
So yeah, for Frankenfield, yeah, I mean those guys who pitted in early, that's a pretty nice situation I think to be in. Because now you kind of equalize with everybody else. Because if you're Crump, everybody's coming down pit road right now. You're starting to think maybe I can make it to the end here, or maybe I can make it with just a splash. So things start to get interesting here at this point in the race. 74 laps to go. Tally issued to, I would assume that's the 95 car.
No, we've been awarded. We know a tally was issued. Race control being sneaky, though. They don't want to tell us exactly who. Woo! Excuse me.
95, thank you. It's been a long night. Race control's giving us sass, too, now.
Dramatic pause.
I love it. Oh, man. But yeah, this changes things up. So Trevor Elam, again, for the guys who just pitted, you can technically make that call to stay out.
Yeah,
Perfect there.
and some of those guys, I believe, like Wyatt
comes.
Canadle, who else was there? They were just on pit road.
Yeah, exactly. So Wyatt Canadle does, though, still make that call to come down, but how about Jacob Adams? We saw him early in the race make that call to stay out on the racetrack. He pitted lap 223 right before the caution. Same with Massey. Same with Crump. Nick Massey, actually, one of the biggest winners out of this, as is Jacob Adams, because he's now legitimately there in P1 with fresh tires like everybody else. But Massey came down recently, just did a quick splash of gas and got back out on the racetrack, and now he's ahead of Scott Crump.
Wow. Just when we think we have the playbook here, we throw it out.
Yeah, this is really shaping up to be a really intriguing finish to this race, I think. I have no idea what to expect in terms of drivers who are going to be up front at the end of this thing. I have no idea what to expect in terms of strategy from here on out. I mean, it's 70 laps to go, more than 70 laps to go. There's no way these guys can make it without needing a splash unless we get cautions.
Yeah. One more yellow flag, and that will change everything here.
Yeah. This could get really interesting.
Well, we'll break it down for you on this restart here. This quick lap and a half will give me a chance to go refill my water. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Getting set to go back green here with 82 laps to go. You see more than half the field, though, trying to catch back up. I believe we had a lot of takers trying to top off, perhaps try to make it from here on out. We don't see the yellow flag back out here. This will become a full strategy race. Right now, we're underneath the green flag here, and a couple of new leaders up front. Nick Massey and Jacob Adams in control of this race. Massey on the outside there, trying to take the lead for the first time today, but the 25 car on the bottom of the racetrack, he wants to lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Jacob Adams, given this opportunity to lead the race, he absolutely wants to take advantage of it. Right now on that inside lane, potentially the preferred lane, but Massey, just a great launch off of turn number 4 there. Great launch off the restart, and he takes over that lead. Also maybe a little bit more pace in that 48 car. Right now that 25 struggling a little bit, goes high up on the racetrack, and that's going to allow Tyler Fode on by 2, as a lot of loose guys coming off of turn number 2, a lot of squarely cars there.
Yeah, I saw the 64 car, Andrew Rucker, actually all but get out of the gas to avoid making that a bigger issue right there. The 25, though, continuing to lose spots, and right in front of him was the 90, or behind him, excuse me, was the 90 of Scott Crump, who had to bail out of that. So now he's been forced back into the 5th position with some work cut out for him to do so. Oh, Crump gets into the back bumper of the 25 there, and all but goes around as the yellow flag comes out.
Yeah, caution flag comes out for Andrew Rucker. So
This
there's the 90
right
car.
behind.
Yeah, 90 car. Oh!
Oh!
Man, oh man, oh man. That was the driver
Here's
who...
one of my credit ones to pick.
Both of our picks.
That'll complete my hat trick of being able to call people into a wreck here today. I've done it all 3. Please, No press.
I mean, I'll say this. I mean, Crump also spinning out there, or semi-spinning out there. Yeah, that didn't make either of our cases very good, though. Yeah, Rucker hitting the wall doesn't do much good for you there in terms of your pick. Man, that was something. That's that avoiding action. I think Rucker just tried to avoid, made that slight error in terms of over braking, and it was all gone from there, unfortunately for him.
He had a good run here. Come for not, as pit road is open here. You're gonna see some takers onto pit road, including the 15 car.
Yeah.
Might not have felt like he could make it on fuel. A lot of these guys, I believe this narrowly puts us into the window, so we not get a dreaded green-white checker.
Absolutely, yeah. This should put us. I think this puts us in the window to make it to the end. Yeah, 66 laps or so. Yeah, we should be able to do that, I think. So, 64. Yep, racing incident, reacting in front, no tally. That makes sense, but obviously unfortunate for the night to end for Andrew Rucker.
Yeah, he had such a good run gear going. I had picked him. It's going to be unfortunate there. Sorry, buddy. Not going to be in victory lane to celebrate that one tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's the problem right now. Is it's a little bit tricky to pick, or not a problem necessarily for us watching and for you watching at home. But one of the more intriguing things is it's really difficult to pick anybody to really kind of step away with this, because we have a lot of strong drivers and we have a lot of guys who are maybe getting hit with some bad luck, getting just caught out by random things, and you never know what's going to kind of hit next, or who it's going to hit in terms of bad luck. So Andrew Rucker, the latest victim there, but yeah, I mean, a lot of really good drivers. You look at that top 5, all of those guys potentially have the chance to win. I mean, you talk about that incident that just happened with the 95 and the 02. The 02 is sitting in 6th position. 95 car, unfortunately, is out of the race, but I think he had a bit of a harder hit. But still, I mean, a minor crash damage especially is not the end of your race at all, especially tonight.
Yeah, we've seen that. I also think I was looking to see the 28 car. I believe he's riding along somewhere there. That's Joshua Clark, who he had mentioned earlier, who had a new nose put on that car.
Yeah.
Don't know. I don't see him in the running order, though. So actually, he's in the 21st position right there. So this field has been heavily thinned out, though. Not the 43 starters that we saw here beginning all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to begin tonight's race. This race has changed these men.
Yeah, certainly.
A different person here tonight after this one.
Yeah, I think we only have about 22 cars officially running on the track there from your 43 that started, so almost half the field there taken out in this one. We're one car away from being over. So, I mean, that's just been this night tonight. It's been definitely a war of attrition. I think we've started to expect that a little bit with this next-gen car. It's going to be more attrition-filled races, but this one's been rough, and the longer distance obviously makes it that way. So, well, we've certainly got a long way to go in this one in terms of how it's going to play out. If they can make it on fuel, they should be able to. And then, of course, then it just comes down to who's going to race it out and grab that top spot when the checkered flag comes out.
Yeah, so with fuel out of the question here, track position about to be equalized here. Now, it really goes back into the matters of these guys and being able to avoid any issue that's around them and really battling their race car. Nick Massey, we saw that 48 has been able to do just that. Anything that's really been thrown at him here, including a wreck. He's not been put down there, and he has the lead because of it. Tyler Fody, that's another competitor that we've not actually seen take control of this race. I don't know if he's actually led any laps here tonight, but he's been around in the thick of things. And then, of course, you have Ethan Burrell, our pole sitter here today. And then Scott Crump just before that yellow flag come out. Thankfully, he was able to save that issue. But he did have a moment of where he did look like he was going to go around.
Yeah, it absolutely did. And yeah, again, nobody's safe from the snapping of these cars, so who knows? At this point, absolutely who knows? For us up here in the booth, the best we can do is just watch the action and give you guys watching at home as much information as possible about what's going on out here on the racetrack. But it has been chaotic so far tonight, and I'm hard pressed to believe that it's gonna stop right here.
So, pace car ducking for cover. Nick Massey back on the loud pedal there. Looks like he caught the 40 car sleeping just a little bit as Ethan Burrell can't take full advantage of that. So we're back underway side by side for third place, way up high, traveling the bank. The banking is the 25 car of Jacob Adams. 90 car Scott Crump up to the fourth position as well. Tad Turnquist, who had just starred in that second to last caution flag, looking to battle inside the top 5. He wants even more as he's trying to take a look underneath the the 90 car of Scott Crump.
Yeah,
kind of falling back a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Here comes David Tooker to the inside now of Jacob Adams. Those guys go side by side. Up front, they are single-filed out, so it's Massey, Fody, Burrell, Crump, Thornquist, and then you have this side-by-side battle between Adams and Tooker.
Now, David Tooker, he had hit the wall earlier, really early in this race, and just had not had the pace to really keep up there, but now he's been slowly but surely, when money time is arriving, he kind of works his way back up to the front. This is very much a David Tooker thing, and right now he's doing a great job so far, always staying in it, never quite giving up there. And you can see the right side of that car is definitely beaten and scraped, but he's done a great job to try and make the most out of a bad situation right there. As Scott Crump is loose once again, something is amiss on that race car, maybe an adjustment gone bad on the 90 car. It has not worked out to his favor. The most dominant Ford Mustang of the day, Stage 1 and Stage 2 winner, now barely hanging on inside the top 5.
Yeah, it's falling apart right now for Crump as he's going to drop down, just barely hanging on inside the top 5. Does stay ahead of David Tooker, at least for now, but he's lost it again.
Have to wonder what would that be an adjustment gone bad on that 90 car? Why all of a sudden he's just not being able to keep the power and the rear end from stepping out?
Yeah, it's tough to say. It could be frustration, losing that track position over the course of this and trying to gain it back in a short period of time, or just not being used to the dirty air. Remember, this 90 car has been out front all night long. So maybe the car is driving a little bit differently. Not too much adjustment you can make on these cars, so I don't know if he did anything to it since that earlier run, but maybe right now it's also a long race, maybe just losing concentration. So many potential reasons there, but you hate to see it from the driver who has been dominant so far in this race.
Yeah, Stage 1 and Stage 2 winner, as I had mentioned earlier already, but now he's falling all the way back to 8th place. Has his work cut out for him with 60 laps to go.
Bit of separation for Nick Massey up in front. It's about 3.5 tenths of a second ahead of Tyler Fody, who in turn is about 2.5 tenths of a second ahead of Ethan Burrell. These guys have really separated themselves from Chad Thornquist there, your 4th place driver. You can see that pretty big gap as Thornquist right now fighting with Tooker and Jacob Adams for that 4th position. So top 3 right now separating themselves. That right now are your podium positions, but going at it and trying to race it out for this race win.
Yeah, and just behind them, it's kind of Watkins Glen 2 revisited the sequel to that amazing finish that we saw between Thornquist and Tooker, now taking place on the high banks, or 14-degree banks of Nashville. Thornquist, though, in front, and this is even, I would say, dare say, more impressive than what we saw last week, considering we saw that car around on the backstretch not even less than 12 or 15 laps ago. Oh, yeah. Massey actually nipped a wall on the exit of turn 4 right there. He's going to fall into the clutch of the 40 car because of it.
So here comes Tyler Fody now, who I think you mentioned it earlier. I don't think Fody's actually led a lap so far tonight, despite the fact that he's basically been inside the top 5 all night.
Yeah, but you only need to lead one lap. And he's trying to put himself in position to do exactly just that. Question is, though, will he be able to keep that 37 car behind him? Because Ethan Burrell, he's starting to look racy as well. All manufacturers represented inside the top 3 right now.
You think if Fody leads only the last lap, he'll get a T-shirt made about it?
What? Perhaps.
The Alex Bowman method.
Oh man, speaking of which, I laugh at the fact that a Joe Gibbs racing guy seems to sell so many T-shirts for Hendrick Motorsports. It's unbelievable.
It is impressive. Both Denny and Kyle Busch are incredible salesmen for Alex Bowman fans.
For Alex Bowman, my goodness. All right, here's 40 taking a look underneath. Can't get it done quietly that time by. Scott Crump has continued to lose another position. Actually, he's battling Jacob Adams right there. He was in the 9th position there, but he's under attack. He's going to need a yellow flag and perhaps another pit stop in order to remedy what is ever going on with that 90 car. To the outside, though, the 40 car. I saw him pull this move on the 37, Ethan Burrell, perhaps trying to set him up for this pass, but the 48 car is going to deflect that this time around.
Yeah, here he comes again. Tyler Fode really trying to get there to the inside lane, and he's there-ish in 3 and 4. The question is, can he hang on there coming off of turn number 4? And for Ethan Burrell, he loves to see this because this is going to close that gap back up to these two leaders and bring him into the scrap as well.
Yeah, those two cars running side by side, punching a big enough hole in the air, allowing that 37 car to draft up toward him. Now the question is, what car do you decide to help if you're the 37 car? Do you go up and push the 48 car past the 40 car? Do you decide perhaps you're better aimed at trying to pass the 40 later on and help Tyler 40? I always wonder about that, being in the 3rd position there. Who would you rather battle out versus who you want to help right now?
Man, I have no idea. It's tough to say. Burrell, yeah, for Burrell, I have no clue for any of these drivers. I think you have to respect what all of them have accomplished so far tonight, in all different respects. Look at that, the run the 37 car can get, though, on these guys. Can he take them 3 wide? He can, but I don't think he's going to. He's going to push that 40 car down the back straightaway, so he's made his choice.
Yeah, he gave a bump to the 40 car there. Kind of set him off there a little bit faster than what I think he would want. But that 48 car doing all he can to keep the lead on the outside lane. That's what is so amazing to me here, how much we've seen that outside lane really be able to defect anything of what we've seen on the inside there.
Yeah, it's been pretty impressive, honestly. I've really been under the impression all night long that the inside lane is preferred, and that one's an interesting one because Fode didn't even go to the bottom lane through 3 and 4. He took that second lane that Nick Massey was using and said, no, I'm forcing you to go even higher than that, and Massey is gone. That 48 car passed now by the 37, and Burrell now has to defend against the 48. And look at that, Chad Thornquist back in the equation now as these guys have been fighting.
Yes, and now we can officially say that the 40 car has indeed led a lap here today. Lap 251 in the books. That means we have less than 50 to go. We don't expect these guys to have to go down pit road unless a yellow flag does indeed come out. Never say never, though. You can see look at the pace they'll put between the 40 and the 37 car in just that one move. I think the 37 car wanted to tag along when that pass was made. Wasn't able to cleanly get by the 48 car there, and now that is a gap he's going to have to overcome if they go across some lap traffic ahead of him.
Yeah, this is interesting here. So 40 cars there, he's separated a little bit, but Nick Massey now really struggling behind Ethan Burrell, and Thornquist has kind of been brought into this equation as that 02 car is kind of separated from David Tooker, and then Frankenfield as well, kind of fallen back as well as Scott Crump. So this has kind of turned into the Tyler Fode show, at least up front, and then second place right now between these 3 drivers on screen here, Burrell, Massey, and Thornquist. We'll see how this plays out. I mean, again, Fode's not totally out of touch, but I think they're going to need just a little bit more right now to get to that 40 car, or, of course, a caution to naturally shake things up.
Got Crump up a position there. He's up to 7th there. Looks like he's been able to at least stop the bleeding from what was a disastrous restart here that saw him very, very loose in the corner there. But now, as the laps are beginning to tighten down here, this battle for first place is brewing. Now I can see Thornquist there, and I wanted to take a look and see when the last time he was on pit road, because he might have newer tires than our top 3 right here.
The top 3 are all on the exact same tire strategy. Last pitted on lap 225. Yeah, not much more to say there. Interestingly enough, Massey, there you go, that tires though, Massey only pitted for fuel on that pit stop, so he is on older tires. I don't know how old his tires are, but he is on older tires than what the rest of these guys are on.
Wow, you can see with the draft, the 37 car has now been able to sniff out that 40 car as they work their way through lap traffic. Wow, it's like Mario Kart out there, dodging blue shells and everything there. That just happens to be the slower traffic, but my goodness. Thankfully, these guys have been able to get out of the way.
Yeah, this has been interesting here, and this run is crazy now. How about this? All of our top 4 drivers in one picture, top 5 drivers, and Burrell almost spun that 40 car around.
He gets such a good run in the corner, so much better than the 40 car there. He has to get out of it before he does indeed make contact with that 40 car. I think he wants to set himself up so that he can turn underneath on the exit of turn 4 right there. He just hasn't had the ability to do so just yet. He was close. We'll see if it's going to happen this time by. 3rd time's the charm. Oh, he nipped the apron right there. He's going to have to settle for another shot. And now the 48 car is going to do exactly what the 37 car hoped to do to the 40. Interesting to see what the 37 car does as he keeps the 48 car to his left elbow right there. Maybe trading a little paint as they go down the back stretch here. Now the 37 car going to use Nick Massey's line against him. He's been on that outside lane. That side-by-side battle has allowed the 40 to break away a little bit. Now a 3-car length lead as Thornquist joins that battle for 2nd place. He'll push the 37 car, who will now in tow, switch lanes, and gets back in front of the 48.
Yeah, so great battle here, but this squabbling also has allowed Tyler Fode to once again kind of separate himself, and now it brings David Tooker into the equation. So this is getting more and more interesting as the laps continue to wind down, because we're getting more cars involved in this battle for second, especially. Thornquist all the way up the racetrack, going to try going around the outside of the 48 car, is clear of the 48, so Massey on those older tires really struggling right now just to kind of stay in touch with this top 3. So right now it is Fode, Burrell, Thornquist top 3, but David Tooker wants to join that party as well. He's looking quick now in that 19 car.
And just beside them, though, if things start to get racy and too close, that 15 car lurking in the background as well. It's my one and other only Credit 1 pick. You can see him lurking right there. Whoa, big slide by the 19 of David Tooker. Did he touch the wall on the exit of turn 4?
It was tough to see. Couldn't quite tell, and we know there's already right side damage to that 19 car anyway, so I don't know if that's more or less than there was in the past. So unfortunately, a little bit hard to tell on the pictures that we're seeing on the camera. We'll again grab that right side picture of the 19 as it slides on by. I can't tell if that's more damage or less than what he had before.
Yeah, that would be tough to say, but I believe, the 15 and the 90 car are actually, they have some clear racetrack to catch back up. Question is, though, those cars, they seem to be, I know it'd be interesting to see. We call them teammates there, and the fact of the relationship that they have with other drivers, not necessarily with the car that they have. It's not like the same coming out of the stable here, but both the 90 and the 15 have had the same similar issue on exit there.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what it is that's causing that. Potentially similar driving styles between those guys, or similar ways that they're tackling the racetrack, that it's not working right now. Take into account that the sun has gone down, maybe track conditions have changed, so the balance of the car has changed. Maybe that's not working as well for them, but something from what was working for those guys all race long, for something to fall apart that significantly, I really do wonder what that is, because it's unfortunate to see for both of those drivers.
Yeah, they're down, though, but they are certainly not out. I think Scott Crump, that time by, he's been able to take the lead down to just 1.5 seconds. So I believe here, before all is said and done, by lap 275, I think we're going to have a 6-car battle on our hands.
It wouldn't shock me. It's been that crazy of a night here. The question is, are guys going to be able to make moves right now, or is it just settle into a groove right now and get to those final few laps and then set up your moves? We'll kind of see what the approach is, but right now, not seeing too many moves, or at least not seeing too many opportunities for guys to make moves.
And I have to wonder there, you have to be able to set yourself up for a pass, and you have to be able to complete it without the guy behind you taking advantage of a mistake, perhaps, that you make in trying to pass the guy that's in front of you here. So much of what you do out your front windshield is determined by what the driver behind you is doing. If he's actively trying to help you there, then, you know, that's good. But none of these guys really have a teammate right behind them. So I think everybody's out for blood currently.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, no back-to-back teammates until you get to 6th and 7th. And honestly, it's not even teammates technically next to each other inside the top 5 until you get to Burrell and Tooker, who are separated by 2 cars. So yeah, it really is every man for himself at this point anyways. But who knows? Guys could just be taking it easy and not going for those moves just to save their tires for later.
Working lap 2, 67 300 right here. Ethan Burrell trying to chase down. Ooh, Thornquist a little bit loose. Right in front of the 48 car, but the 15, the 90, and the 19 all in tow. I'm amazed. I thought we had written off that 90 car there, but right now, as more and more cars join the picture, I'm not down. I cannot count any one of these 7 guys out. Just outside of this, though, running along the 8th position, Harrison Talon. He's having a good job so far. Had that one single car spin and a tally issued there. He's been able to rebound the 25 as well. Jacob Adams. And then how about Zach Evans?
Yeah, Zach Evans. I mean,
might be familiar for you in the Truck Series. He is the voice of the Truck Series on, I believe, what is it, Sunday nights?
Yep.
And he's having perhaps what would be his first top 10 of the season here tonight. So strong running out of that 6 car.
Yeah, strong running, especially after what he's gone through. He was involved in one of those wrecks earlier on, or at least got caught up in it just a little bit. Not obviously significant damage to take him out, but yeah, running well. And it's been a crazy night, you know, altogether. Just in terms of the way the order's shaken out and who's gotten involved in certain incidents and all different kinds of things like that. Up front, though, battle's starting to heat up maybe just a little bit here between Burrell and Fody here. About a 1/10.5 between these guys, so about half a car length on the racetrack. And yeah, Ethan Burrell looking racy coming off of these corners.
Yeah, and like I said, I believe you have to set this up kind of like how you would a super speedway right now there, making sure you're able to complete the pass, or you're going to go to the tail end of this long line. And I think that 37 car, oh my goodness, you see him have to bobble. This time he's going to protect the bottom lane, but here comes Nick Massey on the outside with a full head of steam, and he'll still lose that position there. Or will he? They're side by side into turn 1.
Let's take a look. Massey should have that preferred line maybe coming off the corner. He can get on the power a little bit earlier. He does. He does clear the 37 car, but does Ethan Burrell stick it back down the inside? He does as well.
Yeah, it looked like the 48 car was content to ride on that outside lane, give that 37 car another look, but just as I mentioned there, the 37 car, he wanted to make that pass, and it's taken him a good 8 to 9 laps to set up that pass. He just wasn't able to complete it, and now the 48 car is in front of him.
So there you go, 48 back in front despite those older tires. How about that from Nick Massey? Maybe just letting them cool down, get them back into an operating temperature, and now he's chasing down Tyler Fody, trying to get that lead back.
I mean, with less than 25 to go, and or coming to 25 to go, and I'd love to say that there when the lap counter switches over to how many to go, that means we're getting to the end of this thing. It has been a very long night here. But 7 cars underneath the blanket here, each one of them an independent storyline worth noting. 40 car there leading his first laps here late in this race. The 48 car, a couple of wrecks to avoid, and on older tires, trying to become the first repeat winner of the season, and he's going to do so the long way around if the 40 car doesn't get out. Turn 4, here comes the 37 car. This time he's going to decide to go with Nick Massey as they enter turn 1. 7 cars underneath a blanket. The 48 car going around the outside. He'll switch the lanes. Here comes the 37 car. trying to look briefly about 3 wide. He'll dive to the bottom of the racetrack, and he'll do so there to the bottom in turn number 3.
Man, that's a super speedway move right there here on a 1.3 mile, 18-degree bank oval. Ooh, who was leading?
I believe Nick Massey held the lead right there as the caution flag was waved. Man, this was getting good. On older tires there, Trevor Elam in front of
Dustin
the 32
Dewar.
of Dustin Dewar.
Man, oh man, that's that standard snap that we've been seeing. Fortunate that we didn't see guys taken out by it for a long time, but huge damage to that 29 car of Elam. And yeah, there you go. Ticker finally changes to 26 to go, and we've got a caution. Oh man, what
question here? Everybody's gonna have to go down pit road right here.
Yeah, you've got to get those fresh tires. That's the move for sure. Oh, that's a lap car. Okay, I was gonna say, did someone make that call to stay out? But here we go. Everyone comes down, so now it's how well can you come on and off pit road. Yeah, I mean, this really is gonna shake things up. This makes things really interesting, I think, for the end of this race. Fresh tires, 20 will probably be about 21, 22 laps to go when we go back to green flag racing. Could just be hopefully a nice straight up shootout, and hopefully we're not in an unfortunate situation where cautions continue to breed cautions.
No, I really wanted to see, as we take a look and see caution number 16, that's dramatically slowed the pace though what we saw earlier within the first 100 laps there. Thankfully haven't able to see double digits, but at the top, the race off pit road is going to show the 48 car and the 40 perhaps beating the 37 car.
They do. So yeah, 37 actually loses spots off of pit road. Again, strange because he has that preferred pit box. But 40 car once again with a great pit stop there, pops himself. Actually, that's interesting. Surprisingly, the pit lane time was less for Tyler Fode, so just better in and out of his box more so than actually stationary time.
Yeah, and we saw that earlier under green there by that 40 car.
Yeah, and Richard Hines, we've mentioned him a couple of times. He stayed out. He's now hitting pit road, so I guess drove around, got a lap lead point. And now it should hand the lead back over to Nick Massey, Tyler Fode, and Ethan Burrell.
It is going to be hard to pick a winner out of this one.
Well,
We're gonna do it.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's make these picks. We're much closer, I think, to the end of this race than we were when we made those ones to watch. What do you think? I'll let you go first this time. Who do you think is going to be the person to win this race? Not just the one to watch out for, but the one to finally put that car in victory lane.
Oh, I mean, like I said, I think I had, who was it, Rucker and Frankenfield there. Frankenfield, he's in the 4th position, but I like what I see out of that 37 car as far as being able to dive underneath. The question is, will he have any help? His closest help is going to be Tooker, who is actually about 3 rows behind him, so I don't know if that's going to be, not 3 rows there, but at least 2 rows behind him. Now that I'm first, now the pressure's on me there. I don't, no idea there. That is going to be it's going to be a close one, but I'll go with the 37 car. How about that?
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I hate taking the leader. But the 48 car, and purely because of this, yes, he's the leader, but the thing that was most impressive to me is he did what he did on that last run with older tires than the guys around him. It was only a few laps older, but they were, I think, older tires, and that is going to make a difference. Now he's on the same age tires. The 48 might have a little bit more there, but for me, it's between the 48 and the 40. I mean, Tyler Fode's been so strong all night. He hasn't left that top 5, and he's been right there. Man, I'm gonna stick with Nick Massey though. It again feels like the cop-out answer, picking that leader, but I feel really confident in the ability of that 48 car, especially now that he's on equal tires of everybody else.
Well, will you feel just as confident if he wrecks out? Did you think about that?
I did not, and there's a very likely chance that, who knows, any of one of these guys could wreck out of that. So yeah.
I hope you're just as confident when you have to apologize to that 48 car. No.
Nick, I'm sorry for what's about to happen in advance.
Yeah, me too for Ethan there, because I'm 3 for 3. You don't want to be on this train. All right. We're in Music City. It has been a song. It's been a sad song there. If this was a country song, I think everything in your mama would have left you right now for a lot of these competitors. But right now, we're trying to turn that into a happy tune for one of these drivers with 22 laps to go. Nick Massey gets a great start. Able to control this race here in front of the 40 of Tyler Fody and the 37 of Ethan Burrell. That clean air, will it work to his benefit?
Yeah, I think it can. Massey up in front right now, but Fody already looking for that move to the inside lane with some support from the 37. Ethan Burrell, though, almost loses it, but he does lose it.
He does!
Chad Alex.
Frankenfield goes around the 02.
Oh, it's a big one.
The 84 Wyatt Canadal, and they stacked up hard on the front stretch.
That's a big one. So you're 4 for 4.
Be quiet.
so four.
I said, be quiet, Rashav. What is this? You better be talking about your Wendy's order after this, because
I don't know. Last I checked, well, actually, to be fair, I did say Scott Crump, and he did have some issues. So, I mean, to be fair, though, not as severe as yours. So, drivers, direct your complaints to Alexander Ned. Send that in that direction here in the Elite Racing booth. Look at that, all down that front straightaway.
Cossack in the 24 car also, and then once Wyatt Canadal kind of got turned around, about 3 of them jammed up.
Yeah,
this begins with the 37 car, Chad Frankenfield.
Yeah, 24, 84. I think we saw behind these guys. Yeah, that's Wyatt Canadal.
Yeah, look at this. And then it's a 3-car jam session. If you take a look at the 84.
Oh, yep, there you go. 87, 3. Who is that? That's the 64 of Rucker.
Andrew Rucker gets a piece of it as well. It just becomes a parking lot.
Thornquist out in the grass.
Doesn't look like much damage to the 02, but yeah, this is the big one, version 2 here at Nashville.
And it all starts with that 37 car getting loose coming out of turn number 4. We'll head back to the replay and show exactly how this all kind of progressed, starting with Ethan Burrell, your pole sitter for tonight.
Yeah, it just snaps around on him. And the 15 gets off him.
Ooh.
And the third quest, talk about nowhere to go. Both those cars having an issue. Wyatt Canadal had suffered an earlier issue today. Looked like he was going to rebound to have a good night. The 02, a third quest, he was blocked back onto the grass. He'll lose a lot of track position there, but don't know necessarily if that is going to hurt him as far as aerodynamically. The cars that were able to make it through, Nick Massey, the 40 car, David Tooker, Chad Frankenfield is still scored in the 4th position. And then how about Harrison Talent?
Yeah, this has been, again, pretty hectic race. Frankenfield, I think the caution came out just as he was still running in 4th place, so that's nice for him. He keeps, I mean, Burrell up in 6th place despite all that craziness. And with the no EOLs, he's going to stay there. So I mean, Burrell certainly still very much in this, and Crump, of course, in 7th. So, again, I mean, this top 7 hasn't changed much in terms of who you can look at and be like, hey, they could win this race. Don't know about much damage on the 37 either. A little bit more to the left side because he made contact there. But, I mean, who in this top 7, who in this top 10 doesn't have damage on their car at this point?
Shades of Darlington from last season come to mind there with that mention. And also, who's right up front when that could count the most, I believe, the 40 car. His car does look the cleanest out of everybody inside the top 5 right now. Ethan is not out of it. I have to wonder, though, what does damage like that do to a race car? I saw, the 23 of Bubba Wallace during the Daytona 500 had an issue right before that last caution flag. He was able to rebound it and get it up to 2nd there, despite the right side of that car, or excuse me, the left front wheel of that car, it was off. It was not there. So we'll see what happens here. These guys that are damaged might be down, but certainly not out, especially if Rashaf, if your pick decides.
Yeah, pressure's on me now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I blame you because you asked me and I wasn't ready. I was not ready.
All right. Oh, we'll see about that. We'll see. I'll reach out to Ethan and ask him who he blames. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh man. Well, 18 laps to go here. Pace car expected to go on pit road this time by. Everybody doing a good job trying to clean and warm up their tires here.
yeah, 18 to go. This similar restart order that we had before. David Tooker now in place of where Ethan Burrell was basically, and the top four is pretty much the same outside of that. So, yeah, let's see how these guys restart. Try this again. Hopefully get 17 laps clean running all the way to the checkered flag.
Yes, then you see the 48 car. He wastes no time. I think that's going to be definitely a key in getting going and enjoying that clean air. That 48 car is gone on these restarts there, but the 40 car, he's been able to hang tough. And look at the 15, one of the fastest cars all day, trying to get up there when it could count the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Chad Frankenfield kind of had an up and down day after a little while, but Tooker has a big snap there coming off of turn number 4. But he had an up and down day, but I mean, the first half of the day was all up. I mean, he was running second all day long, competing with Scott Crump for that lead. Very strong car in that 15, then kind of was losing just a little bit, snapping loose coming off of corners. But I think he's found something again here. Here we go, Fody and Massey side by side into 3. Where have we seen this before? Pretty much 3 or 4 occasions previously.
Yeah, and what really took a bite out of... we see the Turnquist machine there out of turn 4 through the grass.
He's still on the racetrack, though. We'll grab the replay, but yeah, not great there for Turnquist. Coming off of 4. Same situation, just that snap there on that 02 car off onto the grass. But keeps it rolling, and we stay under green flag conditions. It's still Massey, Fody, Frankenfield, the top 3.
The 48 car seems to have turn 2 as his kryptonite, though. I've seen him, a touch between Zach Evans and Harrison Talon in the back of the pack there. They're able to keep it going, but the 48 car, watch how he gets off turn 2 right here. He's been loose a little bit, and the 40 car has been able to make up ground, at least enough to try and get side by side as they enter turn 3. He wasn't close enough that time around, but that 48 car, he's going to have to navigate turn 2 better than that 40 car, who's been strong right there at that section of the speedway all night long. 13 laps to go.
Yeah, and separation now for these top 2 drivers from Frankenfield. So let's see if Frankenfield's able to close that back up, especially when they start battling once again. But even then, it's Frankenfield Tooker, and then a huge gap back to Matthew Weeks, already 1.1 second. Weeks, we haven't really mentioned him too much today. He had a couple of wrecks avoided early in the race, but hasn't been much of a factor. But right now, running inside the top 5, talk about putting together good runs to maintain your championship lead. That's exactly what Matthew Weeks is doing right now, who came into this event as the championship leader. Off of his consistent results. That win at Pocono as well helped. So, yeah, I mean, good season so far for Weeks, obviously championship leader, and this is even better here for a race where he maybe had a top 10 car at best, right now running in top 5.
Yes. Up front, though, 40 car has not been able to reel in. Looks like it's going to be a 4-car breakaway at the front of the field. Have to wonder if Talafodi is just biding his time, trying to cool those tires down there, as you mentioned here earlier, and try to mount another attack. Hasn't been close enough to pounce on any issue made by the 48 car. He's not made a mistake the last 2 laps here, but he's got to perform better than that 40 car over the next 10 next time by.
Yeah, absolutely here. So let's see how these guys figure it out as we are officially 10 laps to go as they cross the line. The 40 car, Tyler Fody, been strong all night, holds that slightly fast. I mean, you want to see how close these guys are. Overall fastest laps of the race, Tyler Fode just 1/100th of a second ahead of Nick Massey. On that last lap of the race, Nick Massey 1/100th of a second faster than Tyler Fode. There's nothing separating these two drivers right here. They are running incredibly well. The problem is that that's not enough of a gap for Fode to make that pass on Massey, but if Massey gets snappy loose like that off of 4 multiple times, it might make the job a little bit easier for the 40 car.
It really will there. Those are the mistakes you're going to have to minimize here. Coming to the final less than 12 miles on this race course. My goodness, there, that 40 car all but sideways in the middle of the corner there on the exit of turn 4 last lap. He gathers it up though. In the 40 car, he wasn't close enough to really take advantage. In fact, he's going to lose a little bit of time. Yeah. He fell victim to that corner, that lap.
I was going to say, you could see that car just quickly got loose underneath him, and he was able to work around that, so kind of minimize the loss there in time, but definitely got loose coming off of that corner, and yeah, just lost time to the 48 car, so has to regather it, find his way back up to the 48 car, but you can tell all 3 of these drivers would love this win. Massey's already been to victory lane, but since then, it hasn't been an incredible running at the other races that we've had so far this season. He'd love to back up that Daytona 500 win. Fode, second in the championship, he's looking to just capitalize that, put a win down on the table, and show that he's a serious championship contender. And Chad Frankenfield, who's had just horrendous luck all season long, he's hoping to put that to an end tonight and put that 15 car in victory lane where it's belonged maybe a couple of races already this season.
Nick Massey here, trying to become the first repeat winner of the season and pile up on those points that he has lost after winning the Daytona 500. Things have not gone the way that the 48 car typically sees here as of late. 40 car, though, is going to keep him honest. Next time by, it'll be 5 laps to go here, and the 40 car still trailing by just 2 car lengths behind that 48 car.
Yeah, right now, I don't know if Fode has anything for Nick Massey. Massey running a good line around the racetrack and just not making as many mistakes, or I mean, really any mistakes at all. I'm not saying Fode's making mistakes. It's more so just, I think, without Massey kind of having a big snap of oversteer, I see a tough time for Fode to get by, and same thing for Frankenfield there. He's going to need these guys to get side by side for that 15 car, I think, to have a shot at this win as they're approaching 4 laps to go here.
Hold your breath here, and have we seen the last yellow flag of the night? That last caution flag really did take out, I would say, some of the energy out of the top 10 right there, because it happened so close to the front of the field here that this is what we're able to see, or what's been left from our top competitors here as of late. But Nick Massey doing all he can. He's just running along those perfect laps. The 40 car, though, they're so equal, he really cannot capitalize on him. He needs that 48 car to make a mistake, or he needs to be closer in order to pressure him into one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you something. I'm holding my breath until we see that white flag officially wave, and then it's the next flag ends it, because this could very well go into overtime, and we have triple overtime rules here. This race could still be extended some ways, but 3 laps to go. It's the 48, the 40, and the 15, all separated. It's going to take a big move from the 40, or it's going to take a big mistake from the 48 to really change things up here. 2 to go as they come to the line.
Less than 3 miles here in the Decor Depot 400 at Nashville Speedway right now. Nick Massey in control when it could count the most. He wants to see one more flag. That'll be the white flag, and then he wants to see the checkered. He's got to navigate turn 2, though. That's been the tricky spot for that car, and off the turn 4 as well. The 40 car still trailing by 2 car lengths. Can he muscle some sort of energy to get past that 48 car with the white flag waving? 1 lap to go here at Nashville.
Okay, they've crossed the line. Whew. All right, 1 lap to go here. Nick Massey versus Tyler Fode. Is Fode going to make that lunge into turn number 3, or is he going to just salvage, grab as many points as he can? Fode's loose, though, off of the corner. Massey was a little bit loose, but I think Fode got a little bit too excited.
Yes, he did, with lap traffic in the way there. I don't think that's going to play a factor. Nick Massey going to become the first back-to-back winner of the 2022 Season A for the JoinAPS Cup Series. He wins at Nashville, the Decor Depot 400.
How about that? Incredible drive by Nick Massey. Kind of involved in a few wrecks, or at least wreck avoidances earlier in the race. There is damage to the right side of that 48 car, but man, oh man, to come back, play the right strategy, do all the right, make all those right moves, and then to drive the way he did. Incredible defensive driving in those final 25 laps to hold off a hard-charging Tyler Fode, to hold off a lot of these great drivers. Honestly, not even just the last 20 laps, but maybe the last 50 or so laps, 60 or so laps. That was really impressive from Nick Massey, and you can see all these congratulatory bumps from these guys. Even Scott Crump there, who must feel a little bit robbed there from that race. 2-stage wins, led the most laps here tonight, but doesn't walk away with the win. But Nick Massey, what an incredible drive, what an incredible result, and he's going to celebrate here on the turf in the infield.
You know, it kind of reminds me of the 500 because during the earlier portions of the race there, Rashad, he just was not there. But do not count this 48 car out. I know a man who drove that 48 car and did exactly that. It was dangerous. You might know him as a 7-time champion of the sport there, but that number with Nick Massey in tow, it has that's something special right there. And to become a 2-time winner here, working only 5 races, only 5 rounds, that's something to be said here. He's definitely a contender, if not the favorite for the championship here right now.
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of people can sometimes dismiss a Daytona 500 win in the scheme of the championship as, okay, maybe it's plate tracks, you get lucky. First of all, there's no such thing as being lucky and getting a win. You put yourself in the positions that you get. I'm a firm believer of that. However, to back it up, be the first multi-race winner of this season in a season that's shown so much parity, yeah, that's impressive, and that certainly stamps your name on the championship like Nick Massey has just done. So look out for this 48 car as the season progresses. Hopefully, for his sake, starting to change his fortunes moving forward. With that, we'll bring him in, our race winner, Nick Massey, into the booth. Nick, what a drive tonight. Was pretty up and down, especially maybe a little bit down earlier on in the event. But worked your way back onto the same strategy as the leaders, found your track position again, and incredible defensive driving in those final 60 or so laps to maintain your position. Even when you were, I think, on slightly older tires in that second to last long run that we had. And then to finish it off here, Tyler Fode not giving you much room for error there and holding him out for the win.
Yeah, it was definitely a up and down night for sure. You know, I wrecked in qualifying, didn't get a great lap in, so I decided to just start from the pits because, I've reflected back on last year and I knew it was going to be, well, this one was full distance, but I knew it was going to be about survival and just keeping the car in one piece, and didn't really end up doing that because I got involved in a wreck back there about halfway through. But just stuck with it, rebounded, and props to my spotter / crew chief Chris Wright up there. Kind of guiding me through everything, tire strategies and everything like that. But yeah, man, long night, heck of a battle with Fode and those guys up there. I mean, that was a blast.
Yeah, it was a heck of a battle there, and we really didn't have your name up there toward the end of the race there, kind of like the 500. I was just talking there live, but you mentioned that wreck there beforehand. It was one with Robert Hill Jr., I believe, that saw you just flying through the grass on the backstretch there. Did you think at that point in time that you had a race-winning car? Because even before that, I had seen you, kind of flirting with the 25th to 30th position. Looked like you were really struggling with the car early on.
Yeah, we had a lot of cautions early on, so I kept coming down pit road, trying to just stay back there, stay out of trouble, because I knew there was, 300 laps, a lot of time. I thought I had speed. I didn't know if I had race-winning speed. But yeah, I mean, after that wreck, I thought I was done. I thought it was killed, but ended up only being like 20-25 seconds of optional. So, and then was able to just make my way through the field and found out still had speed in the car. So, yeah, I just can't believe it. Up and down night for sure.
Yeah, man. Well, we don't want to keep you here too long. It's certainly been a long night. I'm sure it was in the race car, but want to give you a chance to make some shout outs here on the air.
Yeah, I'm just glad we were able to put on a show there for the last portion of that race. The way that started off, it was not looking great. But props to you guys for sitting through that first half. But yeah, shout out, Chris Wright, like I said, kind of calling out the tire strategy and everything like that. All my teammates at Sky Motorsports didn't have a great night. I think I was a lone survivor. But shout out to them. Shout out to Joey Chapman too, hopping in Discord later on and kind of coaching me through it. Matt Muir for putting together the paints, and yeah, you guys for putting on the broadcast. Hopefully it was tolerable there towards the end. It was a lot of fun.
Nick,
Absolutely.
before we let you
Yeah.
go, I did want to ask there. I mean, you're clearly the favorite for the championship. I believe so. But what does it mean to have 2 wins to your name so early? And what do you believe your shot is for that championship for?
The middle of the season is looking kind of rough. Like there's a couple road courses in there I'm not familiar with. But I think once we get past those and get into the playoffs, I think we got a good shot. But I mean, just tonight out dueling Tyler Fody, Ethan Burrell up there. I mean, that was a blast. A lot of clean, hard racing. So that was good to see. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I know Fody's good. I'm sure he'll get some wins this season. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see as we go on.
All right, man. Congratulations again on the victory. First 2-time winner in this new era of 2022 A Cup Series racing. So congrats on that, man. Backing up that Daytona 500 win, and we'll hopefully be speaking to you some more over the course of the season.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right. So there you go, your race winner, Nick Massey. We won't be speaking to the rest of the field just purely because of the long nature of tonight's race, but we will walk you guys through the race results at the very least there. Make sure you get all of that updated there on your screens. Should have our results popping up any second now.
Yeah, congratulations to Tyler Fody and Chad Frickenfield. They are your podium finishers here tonight, and both securing their best finish of the season. I know Chad will be enthusiastic about that. There, he desperately wanted a good run there. Started third, finished third. Had a great run there so far. David Tooker and Scott Crump rounding out your top 5. You see Matthew Weeks, Harrison Talon, Jacob Adams, and Ethan Burrell. And then Chad Thornquist, who's been able to rally back for a top 10 there.
Absolutely. It was a long night of racing, but I think a lot of drivers were talking. Take those last 150 laps, really impressive racing and a good night there in that respect. You take out kind of that middle portion, I think. And we had a great night, and again shows off what this next gen car can do in terms of racing on the right tracks and with the right people. So from my side, I want to thank, of course, Decor Depot for sponsoring tonight's race, JoinAPS for sponsoring the Cup Series, of course, C2 Freight Resources, Blue Egg Marketing, as well as Powerhouse Recycling, our fantastic premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues. But Alex, I'm sure you're in the same mindset as myself, as well as our viewers. I think it might be time for bed.
Oh, yes. I mean, we're what, 14 minutes away from the next day on the East Coast there. I am way ahead of you. I have my pillow and nightcap in hand. So congratulations there to Nick Massey, the 48 car. So thrilled for everybody that's been able to stick with us for tonight's race. But yes, we're going to be ending the broadcast here right now. So be sure to join us here for a half race distance next race season. Next week. I can't even talk right now. That's how tired I am there, Rashad. But I do want to thank everybody for sticking in there with us. Still a great race. Still one of the best leagues in all iRacing to call in the JoinAPS.com Cup Series. Putting on a show here today here at Nashville. So from all of us here for the Elite Racing Network, so long. We will see you guys next week beginning at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.